We're leaving the before zone.
Yeah,
Hello. Welcome
Racial
to
slur,
the
racial
first...
slur.
Hello, welcome to the first fail portrayal of the year of our Lord, Raw Sphere Mode 2024. I hope
Starting
you're
off
having
strong.
fun. Because we have fun here. I need to put more periods in that sentence next time. Anyway, hi. We're continuing our series where we talk about deck build packs. Because honestly, I do want to say, you know, before we even get into what you're seeing on screen, the terror I have unleashed upon you, there has been a lot, I don't know if it's just like end of the year review type stuff, but there has been a lot of discourse over the past couple of weeks about just how we talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! As a card game and decks in it and stuff. Obviously, several weeks ago, there was that quote-unquote controversy. I won't call it a controversy. The one guy on Twitter with a following who likes Ursartic came after Dual Logs for calling it a failed archetype. My guy. As Red Eye's strongest soldier, Ursartics are a failed archetype. They gave them everything in the world. They haven't done jack shit.
They so desperately tried to make Urzartic go with Drytron after Drytron was doing good, and no one
Nope.
tried.
That was on the outs.
Well, yeah, but it was still very top, and it's still, it's tingly over there. The way the OCG does bans is very funny sometimes. But yeah. So like that kind of kickstarted this, but that conversation kept milling over. So I saw, you know, video from Hardleg kind of trying to like, you know, codify how he thinks of like deck tiers and how we should talk about them. I kind of like his tier list system, where basically you've got, you know, meta, top, rogue, and then if you only care about competitive, that's it. That's all you need to care about. Those are the competitive decks. Meta decks are the most effective tactic available. They are, you know, whatever's getting a majority of your top cuts. Top decks are decks that can make top cut. Rogue can maybe get a top cut, but not a lot, and he didn't have, like, hard and fast percentages like some nerds about, like, oh, you need to hit 60% win rate to beat 2-0. And then talked about, like, you know, below that, you've got decks that are casual. They work. You're not going to take tournaments with them, but they work and you can have fun. You can have decks that are flawed, and you can have decks that are just straight up like, no, my guy, this deck is 40 brick cards. You can't play this.
Yeah,
I think Urzartic is casual.
All right.
Unless you're like exactly Jeff Leonard or like Jeff Jones or someone.
Yeah.
You're not going to win a tournament coming in with
Joshua Smith
Mystic Mind Exodia.
No, Schmidt plays real decks.
Oh, fair enough. He stopped Noise with the
I mean, Blue Eyes has a World's Win.
Yeah.
Obviously,
it was
we know
pushed,
that
but yes, it did. But it was.
I mean,
it
that's
also has a
that's
jet.
still, even if it was pushed, that means they made it meta. But so that is a conversation that's going around. For some reason, YG Organizations did kind of an editorial article on the new ban list, and there were some shots on Twitter about that. MET kind of responded to that in his own way in a different video. Personally, I have no problem with the opinion and style of an article. Like, the main complaint was about talking about Circular being banned, and I don't actually, like, really think that particular block of text was bad, because it's like, yes, there is a lot of opinion at the end, but the first sentences are like, this is why I don't like to play against Circular, because it turns MathMech into a very tiny package inside of other decks that's just really annoying to play through, because if they find Circular, they can just do whatever they want. And while that's not a very technical description, that is kind of true. We've talked about MathMech on this series before. That was very recently. Circular is the card that they printed to be like, yeah, you can just do whatever you want with this deck. Whatever cards you want, you got them. You can do anything. Does it say MathMechs? Yeah, we can get them. So, like, not very deep, but like, very true.
Even before MathMech, like, packages have always existed in the competitive Yu-Gi-Oh space. Like they've existed for the longest time, and like the first big one that comes to mind is Brilliant Fusion.
Yeah, Brilliant Fusion package.
Like, Brilliant Fusion play Garnet, and again, like, but they always existed even before this, but like, it wasn't until like Brilliant Fusion where people, like, the game sphere changed to like, oh, we can just play like 5 cards of a random archetype that does nothing but get us free advantage to do extra combos. And I mean, we even saw it in the most recent TCG ban list of Terratop coming to 2, because Terratop was also that way. Like, no one played Speedroids. Terratop was banned because it was played in PK Fire and every other deck that wanted a free rank 3, which was usually a Dante.
Yes.
Mhm.
And that, put a pin in that, chat. We'll be coming back to weird things you can put in BA soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's been a lot of this conversation. So I personally think usually on Fatal Betrayal, when we're not talking about, like, Gen 1 dual terminal archetypes, a lot of which do just suck. Like, even if Konami had clear designs for them, the way that, like, old ice barriers work is just a pain in the ass. They're all giant tribute monsters with no way to special summon them that result in floodgates. It's...
Yeah, they just aren't good.
Yeah, it's just
Like,
kind of...
unfortunately, as the resident ice barrier defender, ice barriers like pre the last like 2-3 waves of support were hot outs.
Yes. So, like, sometimes there's just nothing to talk about, but usually when we discuss, like, why or why not you would play an archetype card, in archetype at least, we can point out, like, hey, here's why this card is good. Here's what it does, you know. Listen back to the Fire Fist episode. So I don't know if we have to, like, be self-conscious about that, but it's an interesting conversation to bring up, and it's something I did want to mention because
Yeah, I mean,
we are going to talk about some generic stuff, and we're going to talk about another, the best low tops deck ever, possibly. Because in case you can't see the text at the top of the screen, we are actually here to talk about Adamancipator, the third of the decks. From,
Adamancipator with a
Secret
small asterisk on it, because there are a few cards I feel we also just have to discuss along with Adamancipator.
And I feel like it actually is a very interesting case study because we'll start with the block.
Yeah,
and the reason why is because I want to just show this to people because I want to bring this up. Block Dragon has existed since the year 2016. It came out in the Dark Illusion, which was like the Dark Magician Legacy support pack. And I think the reason why Block Dragon's in here for some stuff that I actually want to, just for comparison, I want to talk about Blockman and Block Golem later. Just to, like, put a point on, like, just so you know, chat, Block Dragon is the third time Konami tried to make this generic Rock Earth thing work. And boy, did it work. But...
It worked, but even at the time, well, I guess while you pull up the Block, man,
Yeah.
Rock has always been a decent tribal deck. It's always existed in some form or variant of, like, Rock Stun or Rock Control, which are more or less the same kind of cards.
Yep, that
Whereas,
was,
like,
it
you
was a
play Block
structure deck back
Dragon,
in the day.
Yeah, Koa Chimera Guardian, Gigantes, and all these random rock cards that we may not actually discuss later, but
Yeah.
they are all part of some engine that produces you constant advantage and stun potential. Block Dragon was
Future
the
AD
card that
spoilers,
released.
Rock stuff is definitely going to be in at
Yeah.
least some cube I make later. Just because
Yeah,
that's a
and-
very funny strategy to build a cube around.
Oh no!
Rock
Oh my
shit.
god, I remember us trying to do rock stuff.
Yeah, well, it'll be better. Because I'll just put all the good shit in there.
But yeah, Block Dragon came out four-ish years before Adamancipator even was a concept, right?
Yeah,
Round about?
Adamancipator was... Let me actually check the exact...
Like Rise of the Duelist or something.
No, it was in a deck build pack, Secret Slayers, so...
instances,
I don't think did they even
It's
get
one of those
any
instances
legacy
where a
support?
card came out, it was alright, but then a later archetype came out that made it, like, very good.
Yeah, so,
And there are still plenty of cards like this that have yet to be broken. Like,
Yeah.
for example, people might know this card. Every time a Reptile gets printed, people go, "Oh, it's gonna break Snake Rain," and nothing happens because
oh
it's
my
just not a
god, the
good
run on
deck.
Snake Rain for Ogdoadic, even though... As much as I am also one of Ogdoadic's greatest defenders, that's another deck that desperately needs a something. Dear Konami, if you're gonna print monsters without actual extra deck like packages, even though something like Ogdoadic is just begging for, like, put a tuner in there so you can run the Chaos shit. I guess with the levels you can run Chaos Angel anyway, but, like, put a tuner so you can run Chaos Synchro in there, or, like, give them a rank 8 because you put 2 fucking 8s in this deck that special summon themselves. If you're not going to do that, you need to make the boss monster win the fucking game. I know you're
Yeah.
scared of, like, upsetting the meta, but just, like, ban it later. You do that anyway. Like, you can't keep piecemealing this stuff. Like, I know that, like, obviously there are a lot of decks that I like that we're not going to go into full because we've already talked about some of them. Like, we don't need to rehash Live Twin. That episode has already happened. But, like,
Yep.
Live Twin was a cool concept deck that has some very funny tech they added. The main thing was they needed to pay off for the Link side of your strategy, which was Trouble Sunny, and that really did bring it back together. I can go all the way to, like, Plat 5, or could anyway. I don't know if the meta is really that different, but I could go all the way to Plat 5 with Live Twin. And
Every
God
time I
help
see
you
Live
play
Twin,
Live
it's
Twin
either
Sprite.
ending on Double Sunny or that fucking Unchained monster.
Yes,
But,
the Unchained asshole.
I think we've buried the lead long enough. Should we discuss this?
Yeah, I've
should we
pulled
discuss
them up,
this?
but just to clarify,
Mm.
yes, the deck build pack Secret Slayers was released in all regions in 2020, early 2020. So yeah, it was about 4 years before Block Dragon actually did some stuff. He was in some other decks.
And-
We'll discuss where he can go once we get to his effect. But
And I do remember, like, even when this card came out, people are like, "Oh, this card's gonna, like, something's gonna break this card eventually." Like, everyone knew it was gonna happen, but obviously, there's no telling. Like, people can't just guess an rock archetype that's gonna break it. People just knew something was going to break it at some point.
But art design wise, just looking at Block Dragon, he's just
He
a
looks
guy.
nice. He's
Yeah.
a Lego man.
Wait.
He looks cool.
Wait. I need to set something up. I need to continue our trend. There is a Digimon that is just this.
I would not
I
surprise
mean,
me.
yes, there would be.
I mean, honestly, there's a lot of things that this just is. This is just a. I admit, because it's not made of even pieces. This is clearly like some sort of Mega Bloks knockoff. But
Yeah, Mega Blocks, Roblox, whatever
this is a man made of plastic brick. It's real obvious.
Yo, it's Toy Agumon.
Oh, okay.
Jesus Christ.
I also
Well,
just
I-
think of
Actual
I
Mega
also
Bloks.
just think of like really big think of like Nier Automata, where it's just like a giant scrap heap that is like chords and parts that just magnetize together to a shape of a body, because it just
Okay,
looks like
facts.
that.
All right.
It looks like there's a bunch.
Okay.
Because it looks
This
like a bunch
is a
of, like,
child for
Legos,
toys.
Look,
Toy for children.
It just
Sorry,
looks like
I
a
don't know
bunch
if you
of
can
like
tell from how I
plastic
sound, chat,
cord
but
of like Lego
feeling
bits
a
like
little ill today.
magnetized to it to make it shape.
Mr. Electric, lightning this man.
I mean, it is unfortunately a rock axe. I would just say that.
It is actually a rock. Yes, it is not.
Okay,
a
so it's
machine.
actual
Yeah.
metal and stone, I guess. I don't know.
It's a rock.
I mean, it's a rock because the previous two Lego block monsters were rocks, and that's just
Yeah.
the support they did. But yeah, it's
Rock against the block. Yeah, fair enough.
yeah, they're not really being too clever. And the scary thing is that, like, looking at this guy, he doesn't even look that intimidating, right? Like, he's just a guy.
He has 2500 attack and 3k defense. He is massive.
Yeah, this is meant to be a kind of generic boss monster for rocks. And it's funny because, like, obviously, yes, big bunky dragons is very much Yu-Gi-Oh's aesthetic, but that's not the vibe you get from this, right? There's also a shitload of mid dragons. These guys all know about the middling dragons. That was a different
The
cube,
not
I think.
dragons, if you will.
Yes. I didn't put this guy in Dragon Not Dragon because I didn't know if you could make him, and also that would probably be too
I don't
good.
think you could, because it'd be
You
back
have
to
to
rock.
put a lot of Earth monsters in the pack for no reason.
Yeah, give us what was his name?
I mean, there's already stone
That
dragon.
one Earth rock dragon guy that was banned. Fuck.
Redox?
Redox?
Yeah, that one.
Also, no,
That's
not putting the other dragon rulers in that. But yeah, no. This guy looks perfectly normal, which is wild because let's discuss, if somehow you don't know, which you might not, he has been banned in the TCG since, like, I want to say late 2020.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, if you were not aware of the competitive scene in 2020 because of the whole
Yeah, so
pandemic
that's the
that
other
was
thing.
happening.
We eventually talk
The
about
troubles.
Adamancipators. That is probably one of history's all-time best decks that has the fewest tops.
yeah.
Because Secret Slayers released right at the, not really necessarily peak COVID format, but right at the time where we realized we were shutting everything down for COVID.
Yeah, it came out. It came out right around the point where major lockdown was just the time.
Yeah, so
that was just our experience.
during the time that Block was actually like
Probably the best card in
legalized.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah. Like, before they actually snipped this, it didn't actually have a lot of tops. Funnily enough, talking about content creators, one of its few peak time period tops is it actually is the first place in Mr. Alex Simo's Crush Card Cup, which is actually wasn't official but was recorded on YGO Top Decks.
Yeah, like it's in the same way of like it's the MBT's quarantine series or now
yes.
Chalice Climb monthly. It's like
Good old
they
Yu-Gi-Oh!
are not,
CCC.
yeah, they are not official tournaments, but they are still fairly sizable events that you could see that you could see as some form of meta, similar to how ARG had it before I think they died because of COVID as well.
Yeah, because you can't run in-person events. You're not allowed. So,
But
and to be fair, the remote time period was very weird.
remote duels were very interesting. But this guy can't be normal summoner set, so he's fine, right? How could this guy be broken? You can't summon him.
That's correct, Vesper. How can this guy be broken? Find out next time.
Please hold. I'm trying to fact check.
Oh,
Because Marth said that, I don't know if he mistyped 2022. I refuse to believe that Block Dragon was banned in the TCG in 2022.
Block Dragon was most certainly banned while we were still in a form of lockdown.
Yeah, it was
But
banned like 15
the
years ago.
Google is so enshittified that okay, you meant 2020.
Oh.
All right, thank you. Sorry,
Yeah.
Google is so shitty that the first result is a Reddit thread asking why is Block Dragon banned. Luckily, I can use that as a springboard. So as we said, Block Dragon is a rock again, despite the fact that it is both made of Lego blocks and a dragon. It is Earth. It's level 8. It's got 2,500 attack and 3k defense. Can't be a normal summoner set. Must be special summoned from your hand or graveyard. By banishing 3 Earth monsters from your hand or graveyard. Rock monsters you control cannot be destroyed except by battle. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, add up to 3 rock monsters from your deck to your hand, whose levels equal 8. You can only use this effect of Block Dragon once per turn. That's right, kids. Only the sent to graveyard effect is once per turn. You can summon as many Block Dragons as you have Earths to banish.
Yeah, he is level 8, which does matter in some senses.
Yes.
But he's just a big asshole that you can just dump on the field.
He's
And-
a 3k wall or a 2,500 attacker. He gives all of your rock monsters, regardless of archetype, because obviously block isn't an archetype. There are a couple of block cards, but there's not, like I said, there's not a theme to
There
string
is
them
no
together.
outright support for block
So
monster.
it just makes all of your rocks immune to destruction. And then if somehow your opponent gets rid of it, or keep in mind this is 2020, you just link him away. You just link him off for something. You get to add 3 rock monsters from your deck to your hand. Now, their levels have to add up to 8, and it has to be exact because it says equals. However, guess what, kids? Adamancipator, the deck that finally broke the block, is a synchro deck based around even increments of things like
2s
2
and
4s. Yeah.
Yep.
To
2s and
sink
4.
into, 6s and 8s. So, yeah, it's real easy. It's really easy to pull that off.
Well,
Do they have a 10?
not only that, there are a handful of other generic rock monsters that you play because they were level 4, like the aforementioned Gigantes and Guardian.
Hey, guess what?
So you can just add those
Gallon
guys
Granite's
too.
on my list as well.
Gallon,
Because Granite is one of your #1 searches for block, so we'll talk about him because he's just a generic rockman. But yeah, so block is just a powerhouse because he's a big guy. You can special summon him wherever and whenever you like. Because, God forbid we have some way to get Earth monsters into our graveyard somehow. If only we had some kind of way to, send guys, discard them or pitch them, excavate them maybe. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that going on. So it's just this weird circumstance where Block Dragon creates protection and searching, and also is just a body. You can absolutely just do your entire Adamancipator combo, make your big asshole, probably have added your negate or your Icarus attack. Spoilers for spell traps in the future. And then just be like, oh, those guys in my graveyard, I'm done with them. Block. I summon the block. My monsters now can't be destroyed if you try to do some fancy pants shit like, you know, Phoenix Wing Wind Blast or Compulse Me. I have negates for that. Just, nah. And it's just very annoying. Obviously, to the people in Japan, not annoying enough because you can still play one single block dragon in the OCG. But eventually,
for people who still enjoy that play style.
Eventually, me and my kindred beat down Master Duel enough that they realized that it wasn't okay, and it disbanded Master Duel.
Yeah.
By the way, hey, talking about actually playing decks, I have played Adamancipator before, chat. It was my first ladder deck in Master Duel. I eventually let it go because they did the right thing and they shortened the timer, and unfortunately, even in an automated simulator, Adamancipator takes long turns. It is, I will admit, a issue of the deck. Its playstyle requires you to do actions that consume time physically. So, I can also understand why some stuff got, you know, it's kind of a deck that you perceive as unfun to play against.
Well, I mean, it's amusing because majority of it just comes from the block.
Yeah, the block is just such an interesting control piece. But let me run through because I don't really know what else there is to say about him other than just to mention that yes, he has actually played in decks before that didn't quite break him. I mentioned the BA thing earlier. You can play Block Dragon in BA. It would make the BAs no die. Because I believe
Hey, do you guys
several
mind if I
numbers.
share something with you guys very quickly?
Yeah, what?
I'll move it over to a Pro General after this, but just for you guys. Oh shit, that's right. Gotta put the VX. No.
Yeah, Twitter.com's not real. Yes. Pretty sure I've Partudo retweeted this. But yeah,
Oh, did
so
you?
at some point, yeah. But yeah, a Block Dragon tried to fit in a lot of decks, but it requires you to run, you know, some number of rocks to actually make it work.
What is funny that I didn't even realize is that they did reprint them in Secret Slayers, so they definitely knew what they were doing to some extent.
Yeah, I mean, it had been 4 years, and they were like, what's rock support, right? Like, because deck build packs always come with a few generic tools. For instance, Snake Rain was reprinted for the first time in, like, 8 years in the pack that includes Ogdo Addicts.
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
They are not completely blind to, like, oh, this is a reptile card, so we should print busted reptile support in the set. Like, they do that a lot of the time with these sets that are trying to forefront a major, like, archetype that not, like, again, pushes the wrong word, but like they obviously want to sell product.
Yes.
So they are going to put good cards that go with the archetypes in their product. It's not that big a surprise.
Yeah.
But should we get into the Adamancipators proper now? Now that we have set the stage.
No, I figured I would hit the generic rock stuff first, because that can go by pretty fast. So first is another card that you need to know about. We talked about 2s and 4s. This is another case of a rock card that, while obviously not as broken as Block Dragon, was just waiting for the right thing about the same time. This is Doki Doki, and you may be thinking, what does a literature club have to do with this? No. It's a pun that only works in Japanese, which is why it is untranslated. Because Doki Doki, that's 2 phenomes. It means angry earthenware, literally, but you would pronounce that as Doki and Doki. So, yeah, it is. It's literally an angry jar, but it's not called a jar, so it's a pun. But
it's literally like the 3 languages on top of each other bit again.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where, like, yeah, it doesn't work in any way, shape, or form in English, so they just left it Doki Doki.
Yeah, looking on the Wikipedia page, every other region with the same option, English, French, German, Italian, it's just Doki Doki. Like, we're not even trying. We're done.
So,
I've never noticed actually the spirit inside the jar.
Yeah, there's an angry little jar gremlin in there.
The angry faces are all over the jar as well.
Yeah.
Also, it doesn't function like any other jar, does it?
Well, no, but I think that's why they didn't call it a jar monster.
Yeah, it's earthenware.
It is a level 2 rock,
jar,
but
it is not a jar.
They're
Almost
real
all rocks.
clever.
But,
yes, most
you
jar
could-
monsters are rocks. Some are
You
not.
could argue this jar is not a jar, but it is a jar.
Yeah.
Like a pot.
Oh, fuck.
I think of it more as like a door to your combo. So Doki Doki is an Earth Rock level 2, 500 attack, 500 defense. Like I said, I'm pretty sure, especially with the weird mouth and the eyeball in there, it's supposed to be a reference to jar monsters, but obviously is not a jar monster. But it says you can discard a rock monster, especially from your deck, a rock monster that has the same original attribute and level as that monster in face-up attack position or face-down defense position. So this was obviously intended to be support for jars.
Well, it's funny too because the jars are also Earth Rock monsters too,
Yes.
aren't they?
Most of them are. I believe Cyberjar is a machine. Is Fiberjar actually a plant?
Fiber
might
jar is an Earth plant, but I believe they all are some like Cyberjar's a dark rock, but most of them are some variation
Okay,
of
yeah, so-
rock or Earth.
So hypothetically, if you had another Dark Rock, you could use, now that Cyberjar is unbanned, you could use Doki Doki to set that up. I think the main problem with Doki Doki actually being jar support is the fact that it's slow as fuck. You have to discard a rock, special summon a different rock from your deck in face-down defense position. So it's like, okay, cool. Your opponent knows what that is now, so you better have Book of Tayo.
Yeah, it's the constant problem of cards like this in theory, or like in practice rather than theory, where like telegraphing that you're setting the big ass counter trap on your opponent, they will just not.
In an ideal world, they will just not. I have seen many people
I
just
see that you
refuse to
set
read cards.
Imperm in exactly this column, trying to set the
also-
card in the other column.
Just as an offhand comment, the Gorgonic monsters have a lot of level 3 dark rocks.
Ah, okay, yeah, so...
It took me the longest time to understand Gorgonic because it's a reverse joke.
That's a product topic for another time.
We may talk about
So
organics at some point, who knows.
But-
But yeah, so, Adamancipators do play around with attributes, but a lot of them have even levels, so Doki Doki is just a great normal summon if you don't have one of the cards you're looking for to fix for things and just get guys out. Also, you're playing a Synchro archetype, so even if you don't summon your 4, you can still use Doki Doki to bring out your 4, so you also have a guy on board to sync for 6. It's just a really good part of the engine. And then our last actual rock support, because like I said, I want to talk about Blockman and Block Golem, but we can do that either before or after, depending on how people feel. But this is another card that is, number 3 on our hit list. Actually, technically, probably number 2 after Block Dragon, but he's an extra deck monster. But this is our number 3 honorary Adamancipator. Just waiting to make this deck go. This is Gallant Granite. He is an Xyz monster. Has he only been printed at Secret, which is why this picture is so fucking blurry? Oh yeah, kinda. He was an Ultra and Chaos Impact, and for some reason we've got the picture on the internet is the one from the Tin of Lost Memories, which is only Prismatic Secret Rare. So this guy wasn't printed in Secret Slayers, but that's because he came out in 2019.
He was very recent, and for whatever reason, I'm looking at him now. Did not know he was generic.
Yeah, this guy's just generic 4. I mean, you wouldn't make him in a normal 4 deck because both of his effects are about rocks, but it's interesting when you see them gear up for the support, right? Art-wise, I mean, he's a rock samurai. That's all right.
It's a 2-sword wielding man who is just all stone, which I am concerned to ask if he is just always in this like slightly crouched pose, and his billowing robes are just always like that, no matter what angle he moves his arms in.
Yeah, is he carved this way, or can he move? I don't know. His swords are very shiny for being stone. They're very polished.
Yeah.
Also, I do not know what is going on with these background colors, because he's got like a Mountain Dew aura. He's standing in a purple puddle, which is also he's Super Saiyan in hell. There's like 4 different colors behind him.
They took all the colors they wanted to paint this man with and just put them in the background. Yes.
Yeah, I guess when he's just slate gray, with highlights, you're like, shit, where are we gonna put our color budget? Other than that, like, actually, Gallant Granite himself looks fine. It's interesting, even. He's actually quite well drawn for being a statue that you can't... once again, this is a prismatic secret rare print. Those are very shiny. You can't see shit.
Oh, I've looked at this man's trivia, and apparently an interestingly bizarre pun on some kind of political activism in the Edo period. What the fuck?
Yeah, the Ishin Shishi. A lot of stuff going on. So he is Mikage Shishi, which is like it's a pun about granite and referring to
Mikage
warriors.
is granite, and Shishi is a pun on like political activists, like a movement, I guess.
Well,
It's-
late Edo period political activism involves attacking Tokugawas with swords.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Gallant Granite is a generic 4, rank 4 rock. His stats are a little low for a 4. He's 2,300 attack, 1,800 defense, so you can definitely tell that Konami was like, okay, this guy's gonna be good, so we gotta make sure that, like, somebody can make Gem Knight Pearl or Utopia and just punch his lights out. Like, they already know you're gonna make this guy for his Xyz effects. They wanted to actually give you not the best body in the world left on the board as well, you know? For how good that did you. But it's, like I said, 2 level 4s, completely generic. You can detach 1 material from this card, activate 1 of these effects. Either add a rock monster from your deck to your hand, or special summon a rock monster from your hand in face-down defense position. You can only use each effect of Gallant Granite once per turn. Once again, you can see kind of like Konami being like, oh, a lot of our previous rock stuff has been either face-down, like, flip-focused, shit like Dummy Golem and so on, or the jars, obviously. So,
Yeah,
like,
again,
let's set that up.
Granite comes from that final era of them really trying to push the rock stun side of what rocks did, like where they were setting up that face down situation with with all, like, they wanted to support that, but they also just gave them the other effect to just let you extend
Literally
for
search
regular
any rock, yeah.
shit.
And do you guys want to talk about Blockman and Block Golem first, or do you want to get into the Adamancipators?
I'd say we go into Adamancipators.
All right, I'll
by
start
now.
pulling up stuff. So, like I said, I've played Adamancipator. I'm kind of fond of them. Aesthetically, they're very interesting. This is peak 2020, where Konami is just like, hey, you know what? Types can be anything. We don't fucking care. Adamancipators are all rocks. Even when you see them as humans, rocks. Because they're just like, fuck it. We are no longer fucking around. And
They're
actually,
archaeologists digging in the rocks, so therefore
before
they
I even
become
pull up an Adamancipator, I also need to let this know. So this deck is actually played in the Structures manga. Would you like to know who plays Adamancipator, kids?
a rock star.
No, it's the fucking tour guide for the Underworld.
Oh.
Her name is Anna Des, also known as Miss Guide. And she plays Adamancipators.
Is
Why?
she like?
I don't
Is she
fucking
like
know.
Is she like doing her out of season job?
I guess kind of. She works at a shop and also is a judge at the tournaments the Satellite Shop holds.
Is this some kind of out of season April Fool's joke?
I have no idea, but yeah, it's
Why is she not
very
running
funny.
a fiend deck?
I don't know. Especially because to talk about Adamancipator's name. So Adamancipators are obviously in English. You can tell that their name is Adamant plus Emancipator.
And they were Adam Messiah, right?
Yes.
In the OCG.
Obviously, that's one of those things where they're just like, even in 2020, let's be careful about that word.
Also, I will say, she does also play a Dark Lord deck, Miss Sky. So she does have a Fiend deck as well.
Yeah. But it's just very funny. But yeah, so these are researchers, rock studiers, who unlock secret magical powers. And actually, no, we don't have any lore on them, sadly.
They're geologists.
Which is
They're
really
geomancers.
interesting, by the way, because we're gonna see some interesting. There's a theme of related cards that clearly show some of the same locations as Adamancipator cards, but are definitely not Adamancipator support. So there's some weird stuff. They have a couple of sub archetypes. So they include the phrase, what they call Makyu, magic salvation. And then so the way that the cards that are called Adamancipator Crystal, we'll see later, are Makyu no Kiseki, means rare stone of magic salvation. And then the Risen monsters, the Synchros, mean miracle of magic salvation. So they are very, like, focused on, like, hey, these are the things that are going to help us out. From what? Don't know. But this is our first one. This is Adamancipator Analyzer. And in general, I want to say, the vibes I get from Adamancipator as, like, an archetype aesthetic, it reminds me a lot of, like, a PS2 era, like, off-brand JRPG that possibly has a cheap anime tie-in.
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna say it's very high fantasy JRPG aesthetic.
Yes. Like, look at this guy. This guy is studying rocks. He's got crystals in vials.
He's got a magic staff that's hooked up to some bits and bobs. He's got like the glowing tubes
everywhere. Yeah.
And the not DNA structure on the blackboard back there next to his crystal.
This may be a weird one to say because I haven't played this series in forever. This looks like a fucking Valkyrie profile character.
A little bit with the art style.
I can kind of see it.
Costuming. But yeah, like I said, just not. Even though he's fucking around with magic crystals, and Adamancipator Analyzer here may or may not be hearing, feeling, and thinking right now. It's not quite a Final Fantasy type aesthetic, though. Listen, there's a giant crystal in the background. What the fuck do you want from me?
My brother in Zodiac, we don't celebrate that one.
Anyway, like, this is definitely got those you know, anime RPG vibes. This is the kind of thing that would make Adam Sessler on X-Play poop his pants on camera and still be mad about it 20 years later. I'm not holding any shots on Sessler.
Adame Tensei Nocturne.
I am no longer holding back any shots on old
That
X-Play.
one ad with the old people. Oh man, I've also heard about Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne.
It's the way it's pronounced so carefully. But what's our boy analyzing? What does he do?
Well, he looks at a rock. Also, I want to point out he's got a little fantasy dust mask. He's not wearing it right now, but he's got it if he needs it. So, Analyzer, Mr. Analysis, is a once again, this is an Earth rock. We're just play along, okay? He is a level 4 tuner.
And I believe all the regular people are tuners, correct?
Yes, I think all of the humans are tuners. One of them might
Makes
not be.
sense.
I have to double check. But he's got 1,500 attack, 700 defense. If only your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. So if you're going second, this guy's a free special. And here we are going to get to the main archetype effect of this deck. This is their primary theme, is this effect you're about to talk about, which also I really like because it's very thematic. During your main phase, you can excavate the top 5 cards of your deck. I'm pretty sure we were using excavate as like the PCST keyword for a while, but
I believe excavate was a small time before this card, before this archetype, but Adamancipator was like the first big one to really
this is
utilize
definitely the
it.
time where somebody was like, wait, we call this mechanic excavate. I've got an idea. So excavate the top 5 cards of your deck. If you do, you can special summon 1 excavated level 4 or lower non-tuner rock monster and place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. You can only use each effective Adamancipator Analyzer once per turn.
Funnily enough, it was introduced in 2014, the same year as our Hatred, Lord and Savior Block Dragon, I believe.
No, Block was 16.
16, okay.
Just a couple years later.
Missed my
So
years.
we've
But yeah,
had
2014 was when
had
we
Excavate for a while.
yeah, because War of the Giants and Legacy of the Valiant. So Sylvans were the first big Excavate deck. Makes sense.
Yeah,
That's where the troubles began.
So, basically, that's what Analyzer does. Is first of all, he's a free special if your opponent controls a monster, and then you can excavate 5 cards and special summon any level 4 or lower rock that's not a tuner, and put all the rest back. This is, by the way, why this deck is very time-consuming to play. Even if you are in Master Duel, where the excavating process is automated, it has to manually flip up each card and show them to you and your opponent, because that's how Excavate works. It's not like look at the top 5 cards of your deck. It's basically pick the top 5 cards up off your deck, show them to your opponent in order, you pick one to special summon, and then you have to decide what order the rest go into the bottom. It usually doesn't matter, but sometimes you might care. And then you go about the rest of your turn.
In paper, you just you just fan the 5 cards, flip them over. In Master Duel, it goes, all right, 1, back down, 2, back down, 3. Yeah, it very time consuming.
It has to telegraph each.
This will not be the last card that excavates 5, by the way.
Yeah.
A few cards do this in the archetype, so.
And now we're going to look at. I know, internet, control yourself, but this archetype has 1 woman in it.
Auga.
It's Researcher. Thank you.
Yeah,
this is Adamancipator Researcher.
Yeah. I believe he was the one you played the least amount of because he was a 4.
Yes.
But you still played him.
Yeah.
He was not a bad
his stat
card.
line is oddball, but because of cards like Doki Doki and stuff, he works out. So you can make him work with your unblocking. The main thing also, I think the reason why you play less of him is because his special summon condition requires you to be going second.
Yeah, and he's a sideboard. He's a sideboard card because you don't want to draw him when you know your opponent's gonna make you go first. But you still want him because of Block Dragon, where he's a 4, so you can get him and any of your other 17 level 17 4 goons, or
it's
him and Doki Doki and 2.
I definitely think that again, Konami hasn't touched this deck in we're going up on the 4th year now, as it is a new calendar year. Again, not that they really need to, because Adamancipator is perfectly functional now, but without the block, they have kind of a issue with just consistent protection of their board, maintaining board presence. There are a couple of things you can do that can rock lock you later.
They should totally just have hold on, does Adamancipator have a field spell?
Yes.
Yes, they do.
Oh, okay.
Their field spell is actually
I
good.
don't know, a continuous spell card that gives the protection.
Yes, honestly, I think they could use a few more spell traps. They have good ones, but they've only got 4. So
I have the full set sorted up. They have 3 spells, 2 traps, at least that are name checked as Adamancipator.
Yeah, so they probably could use a little bit more robust in the spell trap department to give them some alternative moves.
They probably could get a level 12 synchro to emulate what Block Dragon does, and I think that would be fine. It would be hard to climb into, in theory.
But it would work. Also, by the way, speaking of climbing, this is another problem they have, which is if you get rock locked, you can't make Barone. And there are decks that are much better than Adamancipators at making Barone.
Well, not only that, Barone's a 10, correct? Yeah?
Yes.
10 is also kind of an awkward number to hit in this deck. You can do it, but it's a bit more awkward.
It really depends on their situation. It would be a lot easier if they also had another level 4 tuner that had a different special summon condition. And if you want to make that work better, I mean, Block Dragon's already banned, so you don't need to worry about the Block Dragon search. You could fuck with the attributes a little to make it work less with Doki Doki or something, or just don't care.
The easiest way they could we don't just talk about how they could fix an archetype, but I think the best way they could do as a second wave is just one level 4 tuner and a level 12 synchro. They don't really need any other back spell trap support.
And we haven't really gotten to we haven't really gotten to what these guys are doing. You're not going to see that for a second until we get to the crystals and the risen and some of the spell traps.
Yeah.
But there is room for that, because I don't really know what these guys are supposed to be saving you from, but there's some stuff going on here, and there's some very obvious vibes, because while this isn't straight up like a tokusatsu thing, this does do the Japanese thing of and honestly a lot of character things, where there's a character triangle, there are 3 characters, each of the 3 characters has their own unique appearances. Obviously, we've got Researcher here. She's the girl, but also she's got red hair and the red robe, but she does not get the red animal.
We have another man we will see in a minute who seeks things out, I guess.
And we have color-coded animal friends, so we have room. We can add extra colored rangers. We can add new rocks if we want to add more synchros.
We can add in a white crystal, just like what we did with Super Quan.
I would say it's the classic Sentai. It's a classic Sentai trio, design-wise.
Yes. It's very much
Yeah.
that super trope of the character, the power trio they call it on TV tropes.
Just go
Yeah,
full fucking was it Power Ranger? Was it Ninja? Where like they got like they eventually got like the White Ranger and then like the two bad Rangers joined.
Yeah,
them
that
as
was
well.
Yeah.
that was Ninja Storm slash
Hurricane
Hurricane.
Ranger. Yeah.
Yeah, just
Where they
do that again.
started with the power trio, but then they were like, "Fuck it, we're gonna have like 3 more guys."
Yeah,
Yeah, it
double
was-
the roster.
So-
Also, no offense to researchers' art here, but the reason why we're not talking about researchers' art is because she's pretty normal. She's a normal anime lady.
Once again, like a nice aesthetic. It's pleasing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
not really many notes about it.
her little
She's-
horn headband is kind of cute.
She's not offensive.
Yeah, again,
Which is-
by no means offensive, but by all means
Like,
a
honestly,
generic Grand Blue Final Fantasy. What's another one?
The part
Fate
of this
Grand Order character.
that's blowing my mind is honestly the background work. Like,
Yeah,
this is, and there are other really done backgrounds in this, but like,
It's a very cozy looking cabin.
yeah, they live in a little cabin somewhere where the rocks are, and I'm like, this is good. This is like very cozy, great lighting. They've got the fucking god rays and stuff. Like, great artwork composition. Otherwise, she's got a staff, she's got a coat.
The funny thing is, it's just when you look at the coat arms and just like how fucking big they are for her.
Listen, it's cold underground. That's not actually true, by the way.
If,
Usually
if it's
not.
cold, why wear fucking
Researcher has some pretty
shoes that
chunky
go up
stats.
there?
Yeah, which this is the other funny part. So Researcher is the first of our two level 2 tuners, Earth Rock tuner, 100 attack, so can't attack for shit. 2100 defense. This girl has Flammable Guard stats. Like,
Oh boy.
this is a big chunk. Honestly, I think it's funny this way that a lot of your generic rock stuff summons in face down because, like, if you're a sane person, you don't want to summon Researcher in attack mode, but you got to be careful playing Master Duel. If you click, you might accidentally put her face down. Don't do that. That's bad.
You click.
But her own effect doesn't summon in any particular position, and it's if you control a rock monster except Researcher, you can special from your
which
hand.
is
Rock.
which is so easy to do. Not even joking. You will see and have 3 rock monsters on your board before you even get to research.
Not even a non-tuner, so you can like do the trick where you summon Doki Doki, discard, summon another guy, and just be like Researcher, special summon. All kinds of shit. You summon a block dragon, you can summon a Researcher as well. That's how you could make a Sync 10.
That's a Barone right there, baby.
Yeah, so just amazingly flexible. During your main phase, excavate the top 5 and summon a level 4 or lower rock, put them back. You can only use each
Non-tuner rock
effect.
monster.
Yes, non-tuner rock. You can only use each effect of Researcher once per turn. So you can only special her once in addition to the other thing. But yeah, it's
and
just
I'm looking at it.
repackaged.
I believe all three of our not researcher. All 3 of our tuners in the Adamancipator have the same. They have special summon condition. Will excavate Vive and summon a level 4 or lower
Yes.
non-tuner rock to. Ideally, the intent is to summon the crystals that they're looking for. They're
Yeah.
looking for underground, but the fact that they're generic can let you get a Doki Doki or anything else,
Yes.
and then combo from there, which is why the deck
cards
is
we probably won't talk about but
powerful.
are still good. Block Crusader, or not Block Crusader, Tackle Crusader. He's a level 4 rock, which has good effects when sent to the graveyard. That includes if you detach him
Well, and
or sink him.
something that is very funny. I would say in a way these guys are kind of a prototype of what Tournament became.
Yeah,
Interesting.
kind of.
And-
Tier definitely simplifies things by just being like, yeah, shave that shit off, send it straight to the graveyard.
Yeah. Here, like Adamancipator came at a time where, like, even like again, way before Adamancipator, the graveyard and banish piles were becoming just a new hand. They
Yeah.
were becoming a second and third hand for you to play with. So I can see them not wanting to make a deck that just mills 5 3 times a turn.
Well, and obviously, the TCG acknowledges how much a mill strategy works because over here we have Grass is Greener banned. OCG lets you play with that a little more. I think it's like at 1 or 2 in Master Duel, so it's like, somewhere on the limited list. But like, there's definitely room for self-mill decks where you just put a bunch of your cards in the graveyard and go from there. They were already had that tech, and then the wombo combo of Tier and the Ishizu cards. We all mentally pause as we just hear in our head, Agito! That was when Konami was like, yeah, we can do self-mill stuff, sure. We're playing around with, making an actual mill deck to mill out your opponent with Runic. We can make a deck where you like self-mill to activate. That'll be fine. It was not fun.
And it's funny too, is like no one played Runic for the winning by mill.
Yes, that was what everybody first thought when they saw it. They were like, hey, does this actually mean we can have a legitimate mill deck in Yu-Gi-Oh? Answer, no. It's still too slow for that. Actually milling out all of your opponent's deck.
If your opponent's kind of stubborn. But
in theory, it can win by milling, but if you've won by milling, I would argue you're not playing Runic effectively. But
no.
Regardless.
Yeah, it's like it's, Konami's been doing a lot of interesting design decisions. But let's grab our next one. Let me see. Did I grab his card art? Yes. So this is Seeker. Seeker is big in that, New Millennium 2000s era anime JRPG protagonist vibes. He's got blue hair and a headband.
He's a Dragon Quest protagonist. Like, he's just a Dragon Quest guy.
Now, his headband is also a headlamp.
Not as an insult. He could very easily be drawn by Akira Toriyama, and I would not think anything of it.
I do appreciate once again all the kit he's got. Like, he's got the little jar of crystals that Analyzer analyzes. He's got a machinist lunchbox. He's got a spear that glows. He's got a lamp which appears to be lit by a different rock in it. This guy's very comfortable with his half jacket, but also all the way up turtleneck top.
It might just be me, but I see this guy with his fucking blue hair, and all I can think of is Dragon Quest character.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all of them feel like they could be a Dragon Quest game.
I mean, yeah. Well, but again, like we said, it's the generic, maybe a mean word to use for these guys, but they have that all-purpose high fantasy JRPG aesthetic going for them, which they could fit into. Like, you could put these guys, say they're from Grand Blue, from Dragon Quest, from any high fantasy JRPG game from the last 20 years, and people would go, yeah, I can see it.
You could just rattle
or a
off
spin-off game character.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Law?
Also, Megan, you are completely correct. This guy is just a machinist. Looking at him.
Also true, yes. Like, no, this definitely is a machinist plan.
He's got a holster, and on the other side where his bag is, that's just where like the pouch you wear.
Yeah, that's where your lunchbox is.
Or he's a fancy NPC Lancer.
I'm gonna call them lunchboxes now because apparently Yoshi P popped into Chocobo, a JP server, to do some fucking AMA, and somebody was like, "Hey, can machinists get rid of their lunchboxes?" And he's like, "No, those are filled with love. They're staying." So now your machinist thing is a lunchbox to me.
Every time it's good old Stefavani and lovingly packing you something to eat.
Stefavani packed me some war crimes today. Goody.
I thought it's where I put all my flamethrower fuel and bullets.
With the power of friendship and this gun he gave me.
All right, okay, we're going to the
and the chainsaw I built.
Yeah.
Seeker is your other two-tuner, Rock, Earth.
His only difference in terms of effect is that you have to actually have an Adamancipator monster on board to get this guy out.
His summon condition is if you control an Adamancipator monster, except Seeker, so you can't double up. But that just means that Seeker is usually your second summon after you summon and excavate. You're like, okay, also I have a Seeker in my hand.
Yeah, Seeker is your extender, like by design.
And that kind of reflects, I think, in his mid-of-the-line stats. He's only got 1,200 attack and 1k defense. Definitely, again, Konami has realized what they're doing with levels and stats. You'll notice that all the Adamancipator tuners, all of the people, other than researchers, stout defense, all of them kind of have butt stats. Because you are not meant to leave these guys on the board and have them attack or be attacked. That is just not what we're here to do. What are we here to do, you ask me? Well, Galaji Willikers, let me tell you.
We're here to dig in our deck and find some crystals.
We're gonna dig deep and kill you with the collapse.
Did we put all three of them on at the same time? Because they kind of, in a similar vein of the three researchers or the tuners.
So all the
Um,
different crystals do something
yeah.
different, but art-wise, they are all very similar. Okay, there we go. Sorry, Yukipedia was slow for a second. Yeah, I'll grab them. I'll grab all three in quick succession and just throw them up. Because the art for the three Adamancipator crystals, which are all main deck cards, is you're gonna notice a theme very fast, chat.
Again, like the tuners, they look nice. Like nothing bad to say about the art, but there's also not a lot to say about their art once they're all on the screen.
It's lagging. Sorry, I'm trying to load the next one. This first one is Dragite. Our next one is Leonite. And the last one is Raptite. So you've got blue, you've got red. What will the third color be, chat?
I'm betting yellow.
Green. My
Nah,
favorite.
there's
buff.
no way it'll be green. I say as I take a large sip of my soda.
I just quietly
Oh,
put it on
boy.
the screen. For a little
Wait a second, anyone else getting vibes of the fucking just the Stone of Legends and Ancients from these?
Yeah, like again, they are, guys. They're rocks.
Yeah.
Like they're nice looking rocks, but they're rocks.
Yeah.
Adamancipator is just weird Jurassic Park. We found these things fossilized, and
But
we
yeah,
found a
so
way to bring them back.
you've got Dragite, Leonite, Raptite. You've got
because
the
I've
blue
been
one.
playing- Because I've been playing KOTOR 2, another reference I could make is, think of all the lightsaber crystals we can make from these if we smash them.
Yeah. The kyber crystals or whatever the
Yeah.
fuck they're called.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's
Uh.
just what we're dealing with. That's not the one I wanted,
Um,
Wikipedia.
I'm gonna blow everyone's in chat's mind. The blue one is water. The red one is fire. Can you guys just guess what the green one is?
Wind. Earth.
Water.
It's wind.
It's wind.
Okay.
But
Which actually I do think is actually meant to be a way to make it so that to limit how splashable Doki Doki is in this. Because remember, Doki
Yeah,
Doki says same level and attribute.
there definitely was an intent with the crystals being various attributes, and I like it. I like it.
Yeah. Well, and it also gives the deck different counterplay, right? Like, while you could play them, there are certain things that would basically mean that, like, the deck is weak to, say, Gozen match, but not rivalry, right? The deck, they are also all rocks, though, so the deck does die to Tikbu, but thankfully, Tikbu has died. But I don't mind conceptually when they shake these things up, you know, because different counters exist for different reasons. By the way, this is a deck also that's very vulnerable to both Nib and Summon Limit. You're going to be summoning a lot. But art-wise, I mean, there's nothing to talk about the quote-unquote monsters themselves. This is like, again, this is like wrapping around from just generic anime to just any cartoon aimed at children. We have, like, both because kids' brains are simpler and also for marketing, we have clearly defined color animal combos: blue, dragon; red, lion; green, bird.
I mean, like we already made the Power Rangers joke earlier. These are just the
Hey,
Wild
Sentai.
Force crystals.
Yeah,
these
no.
are the Wild Force
Yeah,
crystals.
no, this is the MacGuffins from Wild Force as well.
or
Yes.
Power Ranger if you want.
I mean, it's like I can think of like, a lot of Sentai that just have this kind of thing happen.
But yeah,
I mean,
that's what I
well,
mean.
they
Like
do, but,
we can go even beyond calling it anime-esque or Sentai. This is just like how media marketed at kids works, because it allows you to form very simplified attachments that are easy to identify and sell. Now you just need to figure out later which human is paired with which animal. Don't worry, that will come soon.
Don't worry, they'll tell us later.
But yeah, so Dragite is, as we said, is water. It is still a rock. We've gotten better about water rocks, but it's still a pretty rare combo.
Well, and honestly, looking at these guys, we could probably blanket discuss them all at the same time.
Yeah, so
They all have the same stat line.
Are they all 0-22? Yeah, I'm not looking at
all
them.
the same stat
Yeah,
line.
so they're all level
and
4s
they all
and
have
0-22.
They all have two different effects that all work in the same vein.
Yes.
They all have an effect when summoned by an Adamancipator card. Dragite will draw you a card. Leonite, you can place an Adamancipator card from your hand or graveyard on your deck, ideally to then excavate it right away with a Seeker.
Yeah.
And Raptite can place a rock monster from your hand and graveyard on top of your deck. So Raptite is even more generic than Leonite.
Yes. Raptite puts rocks. Not Dragite. Leonite is for recycling your Adamancipator specifically. Is it Adamancipator monster or Adamancipator card?
Adamancipator card.
Okay, so that can recover your spell traps as well if you need them. And Dragite draws.
And all of these also have an effect in the graveyard. If this card is in the graveyard, you can target one of its matching element synchro monster you control or in your graveyard. Return to the extra deck, and if you do, place this card on top of the deck.
And both effects are, each effect is hopped. So
Yeah,
they recycle their synchros. This is very funny, by the way, with Dragite, because that means you get to draw lots of cards because you can play Coral Drag.
Yep.
Very funny. But yeah, so this is your toolkit to basically recycle your guys. Oh, also we should say another banned card that was really good in this deck. Obviously, it's not its best place, but hey, what's a card that involves tunas in the year 2020 that's really good?
A Crystron Needle Fiber.
Yeah, that guy. Very easy to do Hulk lines as well in this deck. Again, not the best place for it, but like, there's
you played Hulk in everything. That if you had a tuner in your deck, you played Hulk, because why wouldn't you?
Yeah. And guess what? You've actually got good tuners.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all of them go very well, and I kind of like this theme of like almost like recycling that they're really good at. So you excavate your deck, but then you put all your shit back, right? Like, you have great ways to reload your deck. So it's very interesting how it all shakes out. Generally, also, I know it says field or graveyard. The times when you'll want to get one of your guys off the field are usually pretty rare. Usually, that's a graveyard recycle. If, like, your opponent outs one of your guys or you synchro climb, you reload your resources.
At the very least, it's nice that it's built in.
Yes.
Like for that 1 in a million scenario where you actually want to put that guy back in the extra deck from the field.
Yeah. This is and again, this may be why they haven't come up with support yet. This deck is fairly well future-proofed because it balances the mix of, like, you know, usually 1/3 of their cards targets rock specifically, 1/3 of their cards target Adamancipator specifically, and then our third floating guy is just whatever. You know, Seeker is for going second. Dragite just draws you a card, which is good. So let's talk about the synchros. Let's transform and move out. So first we'll talk about Leonite. This is Adamancipator Risen Leonite. So you can see pretty clearly what it is. It's Seeker plus the red rock, which is a lion, in case you couldn't tell from Leonite. It's pretty good red lion guy. Also, again, we talked about how generic protagonist man Seeker is. Naturally, he gets the red one and the lion.
Just a funny side tangent. I believe Leonite was the Adamancipator card that in pre-release people thought was going to be the really broken one. So they tried to snipe and scalp as many of these cards as he does.
Yes, I was going to bring that up as well.
He was actually not even really played that much in the deck.
Yes, think of this when we read out his effect later, but to show you that Yu-Gi-Oh! Players are bad at thinking about Yu-Gi-Oh!, this was the card people thought was broken pre-release. So, art-wise, once again, great background, but not a whole lot to add because it is just Seeker plus a Rock Lion. It's pretty cool.
It is the little crystal boy in Leonite. In Leonite,
yes.
in Big End, and grown up.
He is hatched
Make
from his
my
crystal
monster
egg.
grow.
I mean, that would clearly be the bad guys, but I don't fucking know. You know, we don't. Once again, I would like to point out, I don't believe there's been a valuable book or master guide. Definitely not been a Master Duel solo mode about Adamancipator. I don't know what the magic rocks are supposed to be saving you from.
They're saving us from something. We just don't know what that something is yet.
Like, I don't
but...
know if just the tuners are like normal geologists who just happen to stumble into this magical shit, or like are they trying to look for the only way to save our world from the black crystal or something? I don't fucking know.
Omega, sorry, not Omega, Vesper, I apologize, but for some odd reason, that picture you posted, I thought they were Bakugans at first.
I mean, they do kind of look like that in the show.
In Wild Force, they like even in Gower Ranger, they were very clearly cheap props that they just kind of threw together.
So Leonite is one of your level 6 synchros. He is a Fire Rock. Level 6, 2400 attack, 2200 defense. He is technically completely generic. 1 tuner plus 1 or more non-tuner monsters. Fairly easy to build up in this deck. You can either go 2/2/2 or 2/4. Obviously, intent is to 2/4.
We are going to see a very similar theming with this guy that we saw with his 2 in archetype combinations.
Yeah,
this guy excavates 5 and targets only Adamancipator cards, I believe.
Yes. Add 1 excavated Adamancipator card to your hand. Once again, not monster, so this is a spell trap searcher. And then place the rest at the bottom. And then during your opponent's turn, if a fire monster is in your graveyard, quick effect, target a rock monster in your graveyard, special summon it. You can only use each effect of Leonite's Risen, specifically, once per turn. So, yeah, he reborns a monster on your opponent's turn, but only if you have a fire in your graveyard. So, ideally, if you are synchroing with the appropriate materials, you use the Leonite rock, Leonite crystal to make
You're going
this
to
guy.
get Leonite onto the field, and you're going to get Leonite's effect.
Yes. Now, I'm not actually sure what people thought about this would be the broken combo line, but it does spell trap search, and summoning a rock from your graveyard is cool as a quick effect, but it's on your opponent's turn, and I do believe that Block Dragon says it has to be special summoned first.
I think they thought this card would be the broken one is because, like, something to do with, like, the type combo of it being fire rock. You can do some weird, probably some dumb shenanigans with it, but also because, like, looking at the other ones, the other 2 do not bring the rocks back. Leonite is the only one that specials.
I think I can predict what the Mambo Shambo might be. I would like to point out, everybody, that Barrier Statue of the Draught is a level 4 Earth Rock. So I can, I understanding how people who play Yu-Gi-Oh! On the internet think, very clearly the idea is probably to interrupt your opponent's turn with a Barrier Statue or something similarly stupid.
So yeah, like the idea was to just actually hang on.
Can you special
Barrier
summon
Statue.
Fossil Dino?
He's not a rock. Barrier Statue is a fire pyro.
Yeah, Barrier Statue of the Drought, the Earth one, is a Earth Rock though. Also, hey, guess who is a rock and doesn't say he can't be special summoned? Fossil Dino Pachycephalo. It only destroys all special summon monsters when it's flipped face up, but you can special it on your opponent's turn as a quick effect, and then they just can't special summon.
Yeah, so looking at Leonite, you can see, in theory, why everyone thought this shit would be broken. But
And
it turns out...
I think why is because people were probably thinking of rock decks in the way that you used to think of rock decks. They were thinking, how do I use Adamancipator to do rock stun?
Yeah, which, in reality, Adamancipator was just a combo deck.
Yeah, it's just a synchro combo deck.
It became a single combo deck because of Block Dragon.
So let's talk about the other 6, which is actually usually your better 6.
Yeah.
It is the Risen form of Raptite, the green one. Crystal Bird.
That can't
So
be
you could say this
comfortable
is some kind of crystal winged synchro monster.
Hypothetically, yes, and it is also a win.
kind of winged crystal beast.
Yeah, it's another one. Boy, Researcher is having a great time. She's the only one that gets to fly.
Having a great time for sitting on a thing that does not look comfortable to sit on.
Yeah. He's very spiky. God, is he spiky.
Yeah. Again, like, very nice. They are using all of their, like, blooms on this card art.
Like, you've got, like, crystals floating in the air, you've got lens flares, you've got, kind of the spiky mountains in the background of the sky. All comes together.
Is that the same crest that is on Leonite? I'm trying to...
yeah, I think so. I think it's just a different color. So I think that's like they have a generic crest symbol.
For when they wake up.
So Raptite
you
is
wake
a
up your crystal beast. Wait, that's
Yeah.
not right.
Raptite is your Wind Rock synchro. Wind Rock, I'm pretty sure. I hope to God Wind Rock is just Raptites.
I got it up open. Let's take a look.
Okay.
I feel like that
oh.
maybe.
No, those are some very funny ones. The other wind and rock monsters in the game, there are 4 others.
Wow.
Aromajar,
Oh right. How could I forget Aromajar?
the Yosenju Shinshus, and our favorite banned generic rank 4 monster, Gusto Emerald.
Right. Emerald makes sense because he's secretly a Gem Knight, but
Yeah.
like they kit bashed a Gusto and a Gem Knight. Okay. And then Aromajar. I guess Aromajar makes sense. It is an incense thing. It's still very funny.
And the Shinshus as in like parts of the Tori game.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's fair. 4 more is more than I thought it would be, but all of those are fair cops. Okay. So this one has 2,200 attack, but 2,800 defense, which is very good for a level 6 synchro. It's completely generic again. During your main phase, you can excavate top 5 and special summon a rock in defense position specifically. So you special summon a rock, and then its effect on your opponent's turn, if you have a wind monster in your graveyard, is it's basically DD Crow. You can target a card in your opponent's graveyard and banish it as a quick effect. Hey, guess what in Yu-Gi-Oh! Turns out is more useful? Having a DD Crow on a stick. Yeah. Having a crow on board is a lot more powerful. Actually, gee, yeah. Konami, why haven't you given Adamancipator more support? They could actually be real good. This would be a great way to beat up Bestials. You don't play lights or darks. And you could fucking snipe the materials out before they can. Like, they chain the quick effect to banish the summon. You could probably fetch some of the other stuff out there.
Well, because like, I'm looking at the attribute list. If they made another, it'd have to be light or dark, unless they really want to make a divine rock.
I mean, they would have to. I think making a lighter dark would make sense, but still, like, there's some room here. There's some funny stuff.
Oh yeah, no, there's still plenty of room. I'm more just speaking in general terms of like, it would probably have to be a light monster, I would assume, for the next support.
I mean, if that was you'd probably make a white one, like you said earlier, and that would be light. So our last one is the risen form of Dragite. This is very funny.
By process of elimination, this is a analyzer in Dragite.
Yes,
because he's an 8.
But also, it's a little hard to tell because, boy, Dragite really got big.
Yeah, Dragite is huge.
He looks like a Drytron.
Look how tiny
Arctic.
Analyzer is on his shoulder. Also, I mean, I want to say with this kind of like wing design and the horns, this is like Bahamut Crystal. Like, this is just a weird Final Fantasy Bahamut boss.
Yeah, you're not wrong, sadly.
You could even say it's like a new dragon, a Shin Ryu.
You know, that guy's different. He's much more noodly.
But Dragite, if we just bust out his effect real quick, during your main phase, excavate top 5, add
No, yeah, Dragite is also really good. It's you excavate the top 5 cards. If you do, I don't know why it says during your main phase you can't excavate, and if you do, it's weird, but yeah. Return cards your opponent controls to the hand up to the number of excavated rock monsters, and then put them back in any order. Please note, this does not say target. This just says mathematically, however many rocks you reveal, bounce.
It's very funny that this is a better Steeds than the actual Steeds that this archetype gets.
Yes. Also, on your opponent's turn, it's a spell trap negate.
Well, water monster's in your graveyard.
Yeah.
Like,
which again is not going to be hard because Dragite is a really good card.
You don't even do anything to the water monster in your graveyard. It's just, if there is one, it's a negate.
Yeah, once per turn you get a quick effect negate of a spell trap. And this is, again, part of how we talked about how, like, they became just a control deck. This is part of it. With block, you can't be destroyed. With Dragite, you can eat 1 spell trap per turn. So you can prevent them from, just compulsing or Phoenix Wing Wind Blasting away your block dragon. At least, it's when your opponent activates the spell trap. It's not even on their turn. And then also, Dragite lets you go 5 deep, and if you hit any rocks, it is a non-targeting, bounce to hand. if you hit 5 rocks, which is possible to do in this deck, not likely, but possible, you could basically just put your opponent's board back, and they can't do shit about it.
Not only is it possible, it's incredibly likely because this deck is also good at stacking.
Well, yes, you basically pick up 5, put them back. Pick up 5, put them back.
Your field spell may say take up to 5 Adamancipator cards from your deck and place them on top of your deck.
Yes, usually you activate that effect first to guarantee a summon, but if you've already got everything you need, if you're already at Dragite and haven't used Laputite, yes, you can literally just be like, and there are now 5 rocks on top of my deck, I'm going to bounce 5.
I'm going to activate 5 cards. Oh, look, 5 rock monsters. Who would have guessed?
So yeah, no, and again, there's a lot of ways to get these cards in there. Once again, I would like to point out, this has, all of these synchros are generic. 1 or 2 of your spell traps do rock lock you, like I said, but most of your monster effects don't. So you can make any water synchros you think are good. Like, I don't know, some sort of level 6 water synchro tuner who can pop a card when you discard a card and can let you draw a card when he goes off the field, like if he's synchroed.
I will also say, just for the sake of posterity, I looked at water rock monsters. We've got Crystal Skull, just Crystal Skull, not Chronomaly, just.
That makes it double hilarious. There's just a guy called Crystal Skull.
The random like Upart Crystal Skull that you say played in that one jail duel. We've got some kind of generic Earth Water support. Kartohin, the Hidden Gem of the Seafront.
Yes, that's a more recent card, but is just very, very good for waters and earths.
And because we have to have an extra deck monster, Acid Golem.
Well, you can't play that in this deck, but that's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So like, and also by the way, Hidden Gem of the Seafront is a card that like feels like it was absolutely printed to help out this deck. It's not enough, but it's very funny.
Oh, what fire rocks are there? El Shadal Grista. That's a fire rock. Did you guys know that? I didn't.
Oh, it is. I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that and you. Thanks for telling me.
All right, before we talk about spell traps and some other stuff, I have to step away for a sec. I will be right back.
All right. While Omega's gone, we're gonna come up with all the different words you can say to get this channel banned. But I mean, like we've been saying, the Adamancipator brews in early end times, as we'll just call them. They were trying to play something of a rock stun variant, like was saying, was using Leonite as kind of not the boss monster, but like Leonite was the main extender to set up all the big like rock stun boards. You'd like playing Kawakimero Guardian, and just all the other random nonsense that rock stun would play. And very slowly, just because we were in because people just had nothing else to do but play games and talk to their friends online, the Adamancipator brew rapidly evolved into what became known as its arguably tier 0 deck. Like it was by no means like the best deck ever, but just because of the format where Block Dragon by itself would just he would be an inoutable asshole for many decks, because all of a sudden your rock monsters can be destroyed by battle, and you also got to find a way to get over a 3k ass when you have a Dragite. When you have either a Dragite and or Raptite staring you down on top of Block Dragon. It was not fun.
Yes.
It was an oppressive deck in general senses.
Back. Also, in yeah, I'm back. The other thing is not necessarily just a Raptite and a Dragite. Like, yes, usually, if you're having a bad day, you have to climb through one of your 6s into your 8 and stuff. But if you've got all your gas, you can make block, search block, and end on a board that could include possibly multiple synchros and also still have a Gallant Granite as like an extra body and shit. Like, it's very gnarly because it is just a classic combo deck where you just, as long as you hit the Excavate 5s, you keep going. And boy, howdy, do we have a lot of ways for that. Because let's pull up these spell traps. One, because I think they have good art that illustrates a lot of stuff. This is Friends. Yeah. Adamancipator Friends.
Look at all these man-made horrors just having a good time.
Yeah. Also, I think this explicitly shows that the crystal in researchers' crystal staff wasn't the same color as Raptite before. But yeah, look, we're just chilling. Looks like Analyzer is like sketching Dragite chilling in a pool. Leonite's just taking a fucking nap. Why does he need a nap? He's a rock? Don't know.
He's lounging because he's a lion. Lions do that.
Yeah.
Yep, lions do be lazy motherfuckers.
Especially male lions.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this is just like, we're just having good times. Crystal Wing, I think so?
Yeah, I mean, it's a level 8.
This?
It's a level 8. Like, all you need is one of your Sync 6s and a researcher and a researcher seeker to climb, so...
Which is, by the way, if you make Raptite, again, ludicrously easy. Raptite, Excavate 5, did you find a level 2 tuner? Okay. You can make Crystal Wing.
You can literally Leonite a secret researcher out just to go into the Crystal Wing right away. So
yeah, no, there's all kinds of stuff you can do. So yes, no, they are a really good synchro toolbox deck. Hell, I think what are the requirements on that guy? Hold on. Is that the only thing they can't make? No! Okay, Chaos Ruler is completely generic. So you could make Chaos Ruler in this deck.
That is really funny.
Except you can't make Chaos Ruler anywhere because he is now banned fucking everywhere and he deserves it. Put him in jail.
I mean, he does.
I mean, he's just... Because he is the same Excavate 5 effect as an Adamancipator, right? But what he adds is any light or dark, and then he bins the rest. And also, you can summon him back by banishing. He's just fucking infinite conga line of assholes shit.
Yes.
And they made Chaos Synchro like a real deck. Nuts. Crazy. Go to prison. So what Adamancipator Friends does, it's a normal spell, one of your normal spells. Excavate the top cards of your deck equal to the number of rock monsters you control plus 5. So it is always Excavate 5, and could be as many as Excavate 6 more.
Yeah, it could be Excavate 11, because why not?
Then add to your hand one excavated rock monster with a level equal to or lower than the number of excavated cards. So once again, any of your actual Adamancipator cards you can do. If you get extra rocks on field, this can also be add Block Dragon if you've got like 3 rocks.
If you have 3 rock monsters on your field, this can excavate Block Dragon and put him right in your hand. So
Adam, place the remaining cards to the bottom of your deck. For the rest of the turn after this card resolves, you are rock locked. So this is the big rock lock. So you don't have to play Friends, but if you really need to extend, Friends lets you extend. I don't know if there are a lot of other cards that basically let you pick up. Probably at the point you're playing Friends, or at least if you're playing Friends with that many cards on board, more than a quarter of your deck, and just be pick a rock out of it.
This was their way of putting grass back into the TCG, basically.
Yeah, they're like, okay, we can't do Grass is Greener. How do we do something like Grass is Greener with this deck? And that's Friends. So the rock lock, very normal. This is their field spell. This is Adamancipator Laputite.
We already mentioned its main effect. You just get to stack your deck with up to 5 Adamancipator cards.
So it has a passive effect. This, by the way, I want to say, a lot of people are like, "Oh man, Kami makes so many, field spells that do everything in the archetype." I mean, Laputite kind of does, but also it doesn't. It's a very simple field spell, but also very playable. Laputite's constant effect is just all rock monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense. So this is why the Adamancipators have weenie stats. This means that Analyzer is 2K, which really puts him in the Cyber Dragon style territory.
And it makes your Block Dragon a 3K beater.
Yeah, another reason why block is bad. And with enough defense that he can actually in defense mode not get beaten up by Eldritch, which is important.
That's the big the big thing that I was mentioning while you were away is that Block Dragon is just hard to out for a lot of decks because not many decks are just playing a generic 3K plus asshole.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's Utopia the Lightning, but Utopia the Lightning at this point kind of fell out of favor. Because the extra deck was just so crowded.
Yeah.
Especially with Link monsters in vogue.
Yeah, it's one of those things where just, like, he's annoying to play around, and you arguably shouldn't have to play around him because... And the thing is that, like, if you could errata block and bring him back to 3 today if you just said all other rock monsters you control can only be destroyed by battle.
Yeah.
That would mean that you could, strategically pop block, which in Adamancipator you could still eat one spell trap, with Dragite if you did your full combo. And then you could, get around it the other way. But, damn, like, with the way his effect is worded, he is just such an oppressive force.
I had a random thought. I'll save it for after we talk about this field spell, because...
I mean, we've basically talked about the field spell. It's all your rocks gain 500 attack and defense, and then once per turn during the main phase, you can do the thing Mr. mentioned earlier.
I mean,
take 5
like
Adamancipator cards, put them on top of your deck in any order.
I do love how the cave looks.
Yes.
It's very nice, and it's
very...
like for being a cave that looks dozens and dozens of feet underground, if not hundreds. It's very well lit because of all these shiny rocks everywhere.
Yes.
I enjoy this Mystic Mine.
Not quite the
but
Mystic
no.
Mine, but do keep this cave in mind, chat.
It is some kind of cave where we are mining some form of spells.
The dumb thought I have, which is clearly the next set of support if they ever do any, is they unearth the Dark Crystal, and that's the thing that gives everyone protection.
The Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
Yeah, they unearth like the evil, like whatever crystal, the evil worm crystal. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Well, and like I said, we'll see. Keep this cave in mind. So our next. Oops. Also, I did just double check. It doesn't look anything like the card art of.
I do think a legitimate support in theory would be like a level 6 Adamancipator and a level 4 rock. So we just get a 10 now. We can just make 10s for whatever reason now.
Yeah, generic. Especially if future shit for like King Calamity, being banned and stuff like that.
And like just in general, because Adamancipator tuners have a special combination by default, it wouldn't they just have to find a different way to handle such summon condition that these other 3 don't already have, which would be neat.
And they could easily do that. So our next card is Adamancipator Relief. It's called Adamancipator Relieve in the OCG.
Are
once
we
again,
skipping signs, I'm assuming?
Wait a second.
We're doing alphabetical.
Okay.
Yeah. So Relief is a trap. And so this is kind of our only hint about what these guys are actually about. There is a evil purple crystal. Yeah, it's a dark crystal. You don't see what kind of animal shadow is in it, but there's definitely an evil version of the crystals that Leonite is going to fucking Shrek right now.
I didn't actually even know this was a thing. So yeah, just do more of this thing.
Unfortunately, this card is kind of booty cheeks.
Yeah, so the Adamancipator Relief is mechanically they tried to give Adamancipators a Icarus attack or Swallow Slash.
The
problem is
the card I did we ever do Ritual Beasts before?
Did we actually talk about Ritual Beasts? We must have, because that's technically a dual terminal archetype.
Because I will say I referenced it. Ritual Beast Seeds is a trap card that kind of changed trap cards.
Steeds is very good
in modern day. If you control a Ritual Beast monster, destroy a monster on the field, ups the number of Ritual Beast monsters you currently control, which can be a lot, and it's how that deck maintained a tempo.
Yeah.
And many cards that do similar things are compared to Steeds. This card is a very bad Steeds.
Yeah, and that's what I said. Like, I think this card is trying to find a balance between a Steeds and like other cards that are arguably good. Icarus attack and especially Swallow Slash, because that's generic as well, are good. The problem is that this is archetype locked. So Adamancipator Relief says it's a normal trap. It says tribute any number of Adamancipator monsters. Target number of cards on the field equal to that number plus 1. Destroy them. So ideally, it is just Icarus attack. You tribute 1 Adamancipator, you pop 2. If you need to pop more, you can tribute more. But because you tribute, that's really weird and bad for you. You don't want to do that, actually.
like to go in line with why this card was never played, the meta Adamancipator variant, you are not leaving your little assholes. You're not leaving your little guys on board for tribute fodder. You're going to sync them off or link them off into other guys.
Not quite a pyramid scheme, but you do the normal Yu-Gi-Oh consolidation thing. You turn many small guys into one or two big guys at the top.
You turn them into one giant ass.
I mean, yes, obviously, Adamancipator Relief, you could set it, and you could be like, okay, I used my one Dragite negate. My opponent's gonna fucking kill me. I'll, sack him to pop 2, and I can recycle him with the blue rock anyway. But it's just, if tributing Adamancipators did anything, or if this was just fucking rock Swallow Slash, right?
Yeah,
that would be great.
If this was tribute rock monsters, it would probably be broken, but they had foresight.
Yeah, so they archetype locked it, and just your Adamancipators don't get anything out of being tributed, and we talk about this a lot, right? Konami usually tucks 1 or 2 cards that are weird contingency plans. I want to spitball what contingency plan this is. This is for, inevitably, when you can only normal summon one of your tuners, and you immediately get ashed or veilered. And then, normally, your turn is fucking over if you don't have any more guys in your hand. Obviously, the way you get around that normally is you put a lot of guys in your hand. Also, probably you play as many called by as you can in this deck. Yeah. But relief could be something that you could hypothetically add, or have in your hand and be like, okay, shit, my guy is cooked. I've been negated for this turn. What do? I'll set a relief and pray. The problem is that this was 2020 Yu-Gi-Oh! You cannot set one, pass, and pray. You're gonna die. They're gonna summon Eldritch. You will perish.
Yeah, if you set one and pray, your opponent's gonna summon 17 monsters on your face.
So it's just it's cute as a contingency they thought of. It doesn't do enough to actually matter, and so relief is just one of the ones you don't play.
Well, it's interesting that it's always a trap card, which makes sense. Konami by all means still makes good trap cards, but the reason that trap cards have fallen out of play is that they like to focus on these contingency play and trap cards that you would not play in a heavily optimized deck anymore.
Yeah. And honestly, the decks that are best at playing trap cards are the ones that basically let you turn your traps into toolboxes. I don't have to play 3 copies of every good trap card in Labyrinth, because Lady Labyrinth's effect is when a trap card is activated, set a trap card with a different name from your deck. So you can just play one of every good trap card and just be like, oh, I'm activating a card. I see that you're playing a deck that dies to Dimension Barrier. I'm going to set Dimension Barrier. What's that?
Rafflesia, where Rafflesia can just send a trap hole card from your deck to do that effect.
Yes, no, another great. Trap Tricks are another great example. This is Adamancipator Resonance, by the way. This is just the other half of their Omni. When a monster effect is activated while you control an Adamancipator Synchro monster, negate and destroy. So, hey, guess what? Your big Synchro is already a Spell Trap negate. Resonance just turns it into a monster negate, too. If it's on the board, you can flip this counter trap. There you go.
Yeah, this happens a lot now. Just a lot of times, if they don't know what to make for an archetype, they just say, make some form of negator Omni. Yeah,
well, and to be fair, they did try and not make Dragite completely unoutable, because he's a once per turn spell trap negate. So they built it so that you got to have at least 2 cards to basically have the Omni set. But it's still it's pretty generic. And again, I think the other reason why this deck kind of fell out of favor is because it is not the most optimal way to make Barone. Hey, guess what Barone is? Barone's a once per turn Omni.
Yeah, Barone is the Omni.
You don't need any extra cards to do it. And also, Barone has a second effect. Did you know once per turn she pops? So that's I think part of why Adamancipator hasn't come back after Block got is because their regular in-archetype cards are not explosive enough to warrant them being played over any other generic synchro combo deck. And they don't have their one special.
Block Dragon was perfectly designed to allow Adamancipator to go the hell off.
Yeah. It's the one neat trick that Adamancipator needs. And this is their last spell trap. This is Adamancipator Signs. You can see, researcher awakening
It's
a rock.
researcher awakening Raptite. I assume
Yes.
is the.
And hey, guess what this
idea?
does? This is your monster reborn. Target a rock monster in your graveyard, special summon a defense position. If you summon an Adamancipator, you can take a level 4 or lower rock monster from your deck and place it on top of your deck. So
The
basically,
Excavator.
if you just need any of your old rocks back, you can special summon them in defense position. If you specifically special summon an Adamancipator, it lets you recycle your guys so that you can continue to excavate. So if somehow you haven't done all of your hops, you can do it. Or, hey, this is just a really, really easy way to synchro climb. You make a synchro, you summon back your tuner, you sync again.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
So it's all very solid. Again, Adamancipator, very tight, very supportive engine. Like, honestly, with your ratios, like, let's see, you've got 6 names in your main deck.
That is the same crest that is on Raptite and Leonite, and I assume Dragite somewhere on him.
Yeah, he was. The scale was weird. But yeah, let me see. So you've got, you've got 6 main deck monsters, and you're probably not running a 3 of Analyzer all the time. So you've got a pretty compact package. You can fit in, your Doki Dokis, your Tackle Crusaders, some of your others. I know Xenoband Guitar was a weird rock guy that was good because he, put stuff on top of the deck. Hidden Gem of the Seafront's another card they added. I don't know if you could run Prime Mineral Congrate in this. They added a lot of rock support in, like, the 2021 era, I think. Like, they were trying to make Adamancipator gassed up again. It's just not quite as... It's not an end board, and I don't think Adamancipator needs any help comboing, but you can try. And then you've got, like we said, you've got, 4 good spell traps, 4 usable ones. So you've got a lot of room. They're very smooth. But I do think they have room for support. Obviously, you could do the fucking, Voltron Megazord type thing where you could make a big synchro that's all the guys stacked together. You could come up with a new guy. Obviously, and like I said, there is that one card art in Relief that's like, hey, wait a minute. What's this purple crystal doing? What is this? I don't know. And we will continue to not know because, like I said, there are a couple of cards with some very... Ooh, hold on. Bitrate might be getting a little crunchy.
Oh.
OBS is freaking out a little. We may have dropped a few frames. Not sure why at 9 o'clock at night it's decided to goop a little. Hopefully you guys don't need all of your frames to see these collection of still images. But you may experience buffering and other oddball stuff.
Are we back?
I mean, no, we haven't left. It's just that, like I said, OBS is dropping frames.
Well,
so.
I just mean in the sense of like we were stuttering a second there, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah, let us know if you can see everything okay. It should be alright. It seems to be... Oh, is it stabilizing?
I believe that is the end of our Adamancipator package, unless we want to discuss, like, the off-brand Adamancipator, like, cards. I don't know what they are off the top of my head.
Well, yeah, so I was going to say, there are 2 cards which are definitely related to this stuff. Oh, no, it's telling me the bit rate is bad again. Okay, no, OBS is still green. It seems to have evened out. But yeah, so there's 2 cards which are not Adamancipators directly, but do kind of seem like they are related because they share similar names. That very clearly hint at more stuff, but also absolutely have nothing to do with Adamancipators. So let's talk about those really quick. So our first target here is Dwimmered Path. In Japanese, this is Kuma no Shirube. Guidance of Spell Salvation, so using the Spell Salvation term without...
Looking on Edo Pro, that, like Guidance of Spell Salvation is still, like, the text on the proxy.
Yeah, so which Spell Salvation is what Adamancipator basically means, but they also write it phonetically so you know to pronounce it Ad Messiah. So, yeah. So in the art, you can see something very interesting here. We've got some kind of generic anime child, unsure about their gender. They could be a they, them, don't know. But they've got a staff with a purple rocket.
Maybe a dark type Adamancipator looking at the crystal color?
Yes,
like
they've got a purple crystal. I mean, they got a little, like, hippogriff or something. That's neat. It clearly is broken out of slavery. But you've got the little sparkles leading them on. The weird thing is, despite the fact that this looks like this should be a new section in the Adamancipator story, right?
It's
At least
spellcaster
like-
support.
At least
Yeah.
like an antagonist for later where they fight the Dark One.
I don't know if I don't know if this gives me antagonist vibes, but like this should be something.
I
It's
mean,
not,
like-
though.
I mean, like antagonist, like it finds the dark thing and it like basically possesses it or something.
Nah, you're reading too much into this. We don't know that shit yet.
I'll
Um,
go back for really.
But Dwimmered Path, like Vesper said, is generic spellcaster support. Target a spellcaster effect monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. You can only Dwimmered Path once per turn. This has no use in Adamancipators. And presumably, is if this turned into an archetype with this, anime child and hippogriff creature, would be spellcaster related.
Yeah, and it's also just it's bad salvage. Like, I mean, it's not a bad card, but it's worst salvage.
Yeah. It's a card that spellcasters probably don't need.
Yeah.
And then shit gets weirder. Because our next card in this is, let me find my right window. Dwimmered Glimmer. Thank you for the rhymes. Yeah, this is deeper in, and they found their own Adamancipator rock. Though it looks like there's maybe a humanoid shadow in there. Like, is that a person?
Yeah, there's something much larger than the little toy product for children to buy.
Yeah, but also this doesn't look quite like the evil crystal that not Dragite, Leonite was attacking, because that was a like dark purple with menacing energy. This is kind of like a bluish purple with like space inside of it.
The color is very obfuscated, but both by, I assume, just the general blue light of the cave and also the weird galaxy effect. Like, there's so many colors happening, it's hard to actually tell what the crystal is supposed to
Yeah.
be.
It feels like it could just be something new, which they never did.
I mean, it could be. Like, we don't know. That's the thing.
I mean, we know that this is related to Adamancipators because it is very clearly the same art style, and they use the phrase spell salvation. Technically, this is Kyuma no Kiseki, rare stone of spell salvation. This literally is what Adamancipator Risen, that's how that's written in Japanese. That's rare stone of spell salvation, right? So, like, this is thematically attached. It doesn't make any sense because
They
what
just never made the cards.
Glimmer did, I mean, they did make the card, because let me read what Glimmer does. They made these cards. The problem is that they have no interplay with Adamancipators. Dwimmered Glimmer is a continuous trap that says, activate this card by banishing one face-up monster you control or one monster in your graveyard. Special summon this card as a normal monster, which is Spellcaster, Light, 0 attack, 0 defense, with the same level of that banished monster. This is also still a trap. You can only activate one Dwimmered Glimmer per turn. And technically, Dwimmered Glimmer came out first. This was in Rising Rampage in 2019.
Yeah, it's a very bizarre pairing of cards that feels like it was setting something up that they just never went
Let me
back
double-check
to,
when
maybe
Path was.
because of...
Okay, so Path was
Dragon,
also
they were-
2019. So So actually, this might be I forgot to mention the dates. This might be a case of where they thought they were doing something different and then didn't. Like, maybe they thought Adamancipators were going to be like, maybe the tuners were going to be spellcasters, right? And then 2019, that would be, I believe, the old Spiral format. And some shenanigans with Magician Souls. So maybe
Yeah.
Konami thought better. Maybe Konami was like, let's not print any weird spellcaster targets right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
These cards definitely read like some kind of plan was set up and they shifted.
Yeah, so I don't know if, like, because again, they used the Spell Salvation name before they came up with the idea of turning that into, what became Ad Messiah. So I don't know if this was just supposed to be like, is this the prelude? Is this like, the after image? I don't know. The fact that the trap card is a light that is named after the synchro monsters is interesting. Fundamentally, they're not great cards because, like, okay, cool, you can make a trap monster whatever level you need, but you have to banish to do it, so it's weird.
That's actually interesting, though. It looks like the kanji in Dwimmered Path and Adamancipators are swapped.
Interesting.
They're interposed. So there definitely is something happening with these cards.
I would once again, I'd love for Konami to pick up this payoff. I don't
Yeah.
think they are. I think they're gonna. What was the archetype that's gonna be that's gonna get a special manga next? It's the Magistus crew, right?
Magister? Magister?
No, the Magistus, which is
Magistus?
the
Oh,
yes, I'm saying Magistus.
Sorry.
Which is that's, Crowley and the Witchcrafters and Endymion and all those guys at college, basically, when they accidentally turned their one friend into a phoenix. Please don't do that.
Yeah, Crowley, Zoroa, Endymion, and Riliona.
Yes, so presumably we're gonna
And
get more
also
about
Artemis. Yeah.
them. It seems like, no guarantees, but it seems like we're gearing up for Albaz Part 2. Because there is a card art that's very ominous. They've teased.
I have not seen this.
It was somewhere in Trad Games. Let me find
Oh my god.
it.
The Magistus cards have a rock monster. It's all connected.
Oh, I could actually do it.
Sorry, what's up?
We're talking about
Going on,
Glimmer Glimmer.
Yeah, sorry about that. I literally, my stomach decided to say "fuck you," and I'm like, step away.
We basically talked about how there was a pairing of cards right before Adamancipator came out that definitely have something to do with the archetype in some sense, or some pre-planning, and then Magician's Souls happen. Is our assumption.
Probably, yeah. Like, Konami decided to pivot away from spellcaster support to Oops All Rocks, and is arguably better for it. And it's really
Is that-
weird.
Is that a boy in that crystal?
We're not sure.
No, because like
Yeah,
I said, there's no payoff.
Do not know.
But yeah,
Thanks,
those are the last
Konami.
cards that are in there. But so, let's briefly look over what's going on in Legacy of Destruction. Hey, this is Fallen of Agros standing up on all the dead Therions.
Well, okay, I have seen this card. I did not know this is what was being referred to.
Yes, no, this is what I'm talking about. This is very clearly Albaz Lore Part 2. Fallen of Agros is, I think it's like
It's anti-extra deck.
yeah, that's what the card does. But the monster Fallen of Agros is like, I think it's why can't I remember her? Fleur-de-lis. There we go. I'm trying to remember her first name. I think it's Fleur-de-lis' armor wearing Sprite Sprind as a coat, so it's got the Sprite juice in it.
Oh, it's the armor. I thought this was just inserted in the lore. I didn't realize it was like a part 2 kind of thing.
I thought it was the Fallen of Sprite, like that character.
That's not a. That is what. Oh my God, guys! If you don't know what card I say when I say the Fallen of Agros, tell me.
Okay, that's what it's called. I didn't hear you say Fallen of Agros.
Am
You
I
did say
breaking
that,
up for anybody?
No,
No.
Okay.
I'm like balancing. I'm balancing 5 other things right now.
Well, stop that,
Why?
because you're gonna make me mad when you don't hear the words that come out of my mouth. I told you guys earlier, I'm feeling a little sick, so
It's
I
been
don't have a lot of
while
patience
since.
juice.
Oh god, he's a thunder monster.
Don't
Yeah,
think
I've
I
never
remember
seen
Fallen
card.
of
I
Agros.
didn't know that it had Fleur-de-lis parts in it. Damn.
I'm pretty sure Agros was supposed to be the armor. I'll
I
double
thought
check.
it was just. I thought it was just thrown into the sprites.
But then, how does it have an armored body?
We're pulling him up. I'm pulling him up. Don't worry, guys. Let's
Like
look at
his
the trivia page.
like I said, I'm looking at his regular card art.
Monster is the result of the energy of every sprite from the Battle of Golgotha possessing the remains of the bestial Albalos.
Okay, so it's Albalos's body. That makes sense because it is draconic.
The
Now that I pull
monster
his
is
card
wearing
art.
the cloak of Sprite Sprind and holding the necklace of Springan's Captain Sargus.
Yeah, he's got Sargus' cool bismuth necklace.
Right, so it's the remnant of fucking
It's
everything that died.
Albalos's body. That's right. I'm trying to remember what he is, but I know that sprites don't have armor. They're plasma. But yeah, so this card is called Blink Out.
It basically killed all the Therians to take their energy.
Well, they were already dead. Sargus
Or,
beat
I
the
guess
shit out of all
collecting
of
their energy, I guess.
them. Also, it's very
Me-
funny because it can't actually do shit to Therions. But Blink Out is a card that says a quick play spell card that says target a link monster returns the extra deck special summon. You can special summon one of the materials used for its link summon for your graveyard.
It's defusion.
Yeah,
but linked.
it's D link row.
So does that mean you can get rid of fucking Eresh this way?
Yes, you can
Yes.
get rid of the white girl and summon your monster back.
It is indeed, as Robin, I believe, said when this card image was posted in our Discord, it is finally anti-white woman tech.
I
At this
just
rate,
think
that will probably mean that this card will be played approximately 0.01% of the time.
I was just shocked. I didn't realize Fallen of Agros was a thing that came out.
I remember it being a thing. I just
Well, a lot did just say he was sick, but I was gonna be like, we did all the Albaz lore. That was a big long series for us. Vespera has an
I
excuse;
did.
they weren't here.
I was not a part of this.
I remember being there for it. I just don't remember Agros coming up.
it was at the very end.
It's probably
I might
because
have, like,
Fallen of
stepped
Agonos
away.
doesn't fucking do anything.
Yeah,
Like,
Fallen of Agonos-
He's the footnote character at the very end.
Like he's two support, level, rank, and link. Like it's,
Yeah. so it's
he's-
really meant to be a
I'm-
sprite extender, but guess what? Sprites don't need it.
So
Yeah.
what I'm hearing is he's that guy who shows up at the end of the credits of the Albaz lore.
He's the
Albaz
post-credit
movie.
scene, yes.
Yes, he is
Yeah.
definitely the Revolver Ocelot of Albaz. So then, before we round up, because we're at almost 2 hours, and Lucky did want to play some Void Crew with us today. I've seen him poking it on Steam. But I have a couple of things. But let us real quick mention. I wanted to talk about the other block monsters because I think Block Dragon is a result of years of Konami trying to build up to a certain type of design. In sort of like generic, rock support. So this is Blockman Brokuman. He was first printed in oh god, when was he printed in the OCG? Because that can't be right for this TCG printing.
I can pull him up.
I appreciate the
Oh,
effort
okay.
going
So in
into, like-
Japan, this guy was a promo released with a dual disc. I think this is a card that Yugi uses in the anime and manga.
Yeah, he is from 2005.
Yeah.
I
This didn't make its way to
appreciate-
America until 06. Go for it.
I appreciate the way that that they managed to make him look toyetic. Like you can see like the little bits that go into the arms, how
Yeah.
his feet and all that are just like adjustable. Really appreciate the effort into that part.
And
So
he's
you can
got
be
a
like,
cool,
oh,
like,
you can move his hand around.
considering this card was originally printed in 04, got a cool, like, pseudo 3D background with all the
Yeah,
different
for-
color blocks.
For 2004, this is an incredibly, like, I guess modern design's a good way to phrase it.
Yeah.
Like it still fits with Block Dragon and Block Golem, almost a full decade separated from the other guys.
But yeah, this was a card that Yugi used at some point, so that's why it got printed. And you can tell that this is like an original anime manga card because of how it reads. So this is a level 4 Earth Rock, got 1,000 attack, 1,500 defense. You can tribute this card, special summon in defense position, a number of block tokens, which are rock type Earth level 4s with the same stats
it's
as
the
Block
same
Man,
guy as this.
equal to the number of turns this card has been face up on your field. These tokens cannot declare an attack. I don't know for sure, but I strongly suspect there may have been some Egyptian gods shenanigans involved in this, or something.
Probably.
But yeah, so this is like a card. You tribute him. Oh, and you set him up for tokens. Cool. Blockman is not a super great card. Obviously, we got to hold out hope because they made they're making all those other Memorial Duel cards work.
Oh.
You might get the Golden Sarcophagus Blockman.
Okay, it was played by Yugi in the duel against him and a Tim.
Yeah.
Oh,
Then
I
that makes
just
sense
remember
because that
gadgets
was-
being there.
No, the gadgets were also there. Remember, Yugi's Yugi deck in the Memory Duel is like all toy based, and also the
Yeah,
Silent
it's
Magicians.
a weird toy rock based deck because the
Yeah.
Magnet Warriors are rocks.
Yeah, but the
toys and then just the hot lady.
No, I mean I think the low level Silence, the Silent Swordsman and Silent Magician are supposed to be like generic video game characters, right? Remember that the gosh, when did the manga actually start? What was it, like 96? Maybe earlier.
It was mid 90s.
Yeah, so it was. We were still in like the 8-bit, not the 8-bit, like the 16-bit era. So like I think that's what.
Yeah, not September 96.
Yeah, that's I think what the Silents are supposed to be. They're supposed to be like, the kinds of video game characters Yugi would have been playing.
Well, and like by the time we would have gotten to that end point, it would have been mid 2000. It would have been early 2000.
Yeah.
So still matches up.
Yeah, so, it's a stuff. But later, by several years, in 2012, they printed this guy,
2012.
Block Golem. Very clearly an attempt to retrain, Blockman to do something different. This is a level 3 rock. And keep in mind, this would have been the, let's see, Return of the Duelist, so that's
That
what?
was that.
Yeah, this
that was
is
early.
early Xyz era.
Yeah, early Zexal era.
So we haven't talked about the Gorgonix and won't tonight, but that's a 3 focused.
It's another rock archetype,
rock archetype that's
that's
Xyz
doing
based.
things.
Also, I don't remember when Giant Soldier of Steel came out, but that's another weird Yugi callback with a guy, because that's, I believe, 2 rank 3s.
Yeah, it's two level 3 rocks, and that
Yeah.
was 2012, right around the
Yeah,
same
so
time.
obviously I think they're going for this thematic callback. And this card says, if all monsters in your graveyard are Earth, tribute this card, target 2 level 4 or lower rock monsters in your graveyard except Block Golem, especially some of those rock monsters, but their effects that they act... Sorry, this is pre-PCST, I think. But their effects that activate on the field cannot be activated this turn. So it's like sort of negates them. This is why, by the way, that you don't actually play like Block Golem in Adamancipators. It's a level 3 that doesn't help you. But like
Well,
you can
it
see that
doesn't help
Konami
you,
is
and
trying.
It doesn't let your Adamancipators extend.
Yeah, Konami is trying to be like, okay, so Blockman, very specific anime effect, doesn't actually do anything, definitely by probably at least 5Ds, especially by like Zexal. They're like, all right, let's do some nostalgia. What can we do? Block Golem. Oh shit, that didn't really help. Rock decks still aren't good. How do we make this block thing work? Block Dragon. That's like a thing. And then, as we said, the Block Dragon didn't do anything for like a solid 4 years. And I don't know if we have any other block guys left.
That's probably about it. Like I like we could talk about Gate Blocker.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I don't think we have for sure announced there will be a
I'm like looking
block
at
ban.
rock monsters that have block in the name. It's the only other one is Gate Blocker.
Okay, yeah. So
Oh, there's Block Spider. Yeah, I guess. Which was an Arc 5 card, funny enough. I remember this asshole. He was a random little gremlin in an early Arc 5 duel.
yeah, he's kind of trying to do stuff, but not quite. Makes sense though, because Arc 5 was, they were aiming for it being an anniversary season, so like as a cute little nod, but he is a bug.
Yeah. I don't know if are we gonna put him on the field We're gonna put him up.
Nah, I mean I don't think we have to.
Yeah. He's one of those 17 different anime cards that says, "Oh, you can't target monsters for attacks. I've summoned 2. You can't hurt me anymore." Like
Yeah.
there are so many different variations that happen in the anime that it's like, I don't know. It's a bizarre thing that they keep doing.
We're block locking, yeah.
Yeah.
Wacky.
Block-a-lockin'.
It wasn't even the first, it wasn't even the only time that happened in Arc 5. I remember the Super Heavy Samurai guy did a similar thing, because there's also a Magnet Super Heavy Samurai guy that has that effect.
Yeah, so it's the main thing is that's an insect and a spider, so it's clearly related to the spiders in the capital, like archetype
Yeah.
spider. I just realized somebody in chat can take that out of context. No. In Yu-Gi-Oh, spiders are insect type. So like there's some weird spider stuff going on that they tried to make work, but yeah, that's not directly related to Block Dragon. I mean, if you were gonna, if Konami, you were going to continue the nostalgia train, you either need to make a Block Gadget, or you need to make a Block Magician. You could make a Block Warrior, but that's not very helpful.
Yeah, probably not.
The
only other
silent
thing-
block.
They could make a Block Shield, because Millennium Shield's an Earth Warrior, I guess. Like,
Yeah, and there is Block Defense.
yeah.
But the only other thing I think to mention with some news is there's we're apparently our theme now is mazes. So we got Maze of Memory last year, which included the based Gate Guardian support. So the TCG is continuing that theme this year. We are publishing Maze of Millennia, despite the fact that it's 2024, which appears to be, once again, the TCG is taking the Animation Chronicle from the OCG, which is just a set I really think is a good idea. The Animation Chronicles that the OCG has been publishing every year for the past couple of years is just, hey, let's just print a bunch of cards that were in the anime and haven't been printed in real life yet. And sometimes we switch up the effects, and sometimes we just don't.
Why couldn't they release the Animation Chronicle?
I mean, because I think that's not a marketable title. But also, they're adding new cards, because OCG sets are smaller. So Maze of Millennia is we're rebranding the Animation Chronicle, and we're adding new cards. The first couple of which is, though the card links are broken, so I can't show you images of these, but the first two we've gotten a preview of is, guess what? The OCG didn't do it, just like with Gate Guardian, so the TCG is going to make Flame Swordsman a real archetype.
Oh, Fighting Flame. Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely unrelated, but it was very funny that the AI Yu-Gi-Oh card bot made a Flame Swordsman card the same day.
Yeah.
Was it similar? I didn't look at it.
It was a Flame Swordsman card that is just a real card. Like, well, like it reads like a real card. It's right. It's in Dragon Games. It's right there.
Yeah. It just is perfectly normal. It's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Raging Flame is just a guy.
Like it's the most normal looking, nostalgia bait support card I've ever seen, and I'm surprised.
Also, it has an effect to search, to add back, I mean, it doesn't make sense because it's after you fusion summon, you add Poly or a fusion spell card, but, like, that's just a thing that would go there, because guess what? These two cards are fusion support. Which, by the way, I've seen some people be like, oh, why does the TCG keep making old school stuff fusion type? You guys remember that in the actual cardboard game, regular Flame Swordsman is a fusion monster. I know that that's not what he was in the anime, and I don't know why he was a fusion monster, but he is, so we're stuck with it.
I believe in Battle City, like the first time Joey duels, he summons Flame Swordsman like, you can't do that, that's a fusion monster. Put him in your extra deck, dumbass.
There's definitely a gag like that somewhere.
This game.
Isn't it he's fucking normal summons not Maho Velo or some other like level 5 or higher monster?
Something weird happens in the first duel where he just doesn't know the rules.
But like, one, he's already a fusion monster, so like that makes sense. But also like, that is actually a pretty consistent Joey thing, is fusing. Also, Flame Swordsman already has an incredibly tacked on Link monster. They don't need another one yet.
Yeah.
So the first one is they made Fighting Flame Swordsman, which is just a, perfectly normal Fire Warrior effect monster. Same stats, 1800, 1600. If this card is normal or specialed, add a spell trap that mentions Flame Swordsman from your deck to your hand. Which I don't know if we have any of those yet, so I think this might be a lead into future support.
Let me look that up.
If this card is sent to the graveyard, send one Flame Swordsman monster or monster that mentions it from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard.
There are no spell trap cards that list.
Okay, so yeah, we definitely will be getting more support then for sure. But so yeah, if it's sent to the graveyard, you can send a Flame Swordsman or a monster that mentions it from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard, so you can like bin the vanilla for something weird. Except Fighting Flame Swordsman, you're going to use each effect once per turn, so he's a foolish if he goes away. And then we added a level 5 Fire Dragon Fusion monster, Fighting Flame Dragon, which is just Salamander but a monster. It's a fusion monster that is 1700 attack, 600 defense. Materials, 1 dragon monster plus 1 fire warrior monster. Ludicrously easy to do and presumably in these sorts of decks. During the damage step, quick effect, target a warrior fusion monster you control. Equip this card from your field or graveyard to it. As an equipped spell, you can use this effect of Fighting Flame Dragon once per turn. A card equipped to equipped to a Flame Swordsman or a monster you control that mentions it. That monster gains 700 attack and can make a second attack. So it's just like the Salamander equipped but juiced up.
Yeah, it's just the Salamander equipped spell, but they gave it an extra little thing because they realized that was not good enough.
But also it's a quick effect to equip itself. So if your opponent is dumb enough to forget that this is in your graveyard, it is a battle trick.
And also like, if you're playing Flame Swordsman, is your opponent gonna look at your graveyard for shenanigans?
Yeah, probably not. So like there's And that works even if you send it, which, by the way, Fighting Flame Swordsman sends a monster from your extra deck or deck that mentions Flame Swordsman, which Fighting Flame Dragon does. So you can just link off Fighting Flame Swordsman and bin the fusion monsters. You don't even have to fusion summon it. So, like, this is actually kind of fun. I wish all these image links weren't broken on YG Organization, but I guess that, like, maybe some image posts were not supposed to be posted yet. But it's just, like, it's cute, and I think it'll go together. God help me, Konami, I don't think the TCG will be able to do it, but if you could also please somehow make this, like, Red Eyes compatible, please.
What's really funny to me that, like, I mean, it's not, doesn't do anything. You
Yeah.
could theoretically pitch Dark Flare Knight.
Yes, you could do some weird shit there.
Yeah, people have been saying they wonder if there's like they're gonna make a bridge into like a new version of Mirage Knight, and it's like that's impossible. Sounds stuck and stupid, but maybe they might do it.
I mean, Dark Flare Knight and Mirage Knight are, I don't want to call them super iconic because they're from the virtual world.
They're from like that
everybody
one
hates,
thing that did a
but
thing, pretty much.
They exist and were kind of cool, and like, arguably that's, other than Black Skull Dragon, that is the one time that Yugi and Joey actually did a Wombo Combo team-up monster. Their two favoritist cards, you know?
It's one of those situations where I wouldn't say they were iconic, but if people watched that arc, they remembered these guys probably the most.
And, like, conceptually, Dark Flare Knight should be a lot cooler because, like I said, it is Flame Swords and plus Dark Magician. Like, that should be a thing.
He's just a really shitty monster for whatever reason.
He's just a shitty monster that exists to job so you can get to Mirage Knight. So that could very easily be, like, just, you know, say it's, you know, something that's like one Dark Spellcaster plus one Fire Warrior. Boom, there you go. That won't cause any problems, Konami. But yeah,
it's the same reason why like the Neos Kluger and all the Neos like the new Neos fusion cards are like, yeah, they're good, but they have to very precisely tune those cards as well.
Yeah, you got to be careful. I think everywhere except Master Duel, you don't have to worry about Verte. So you could print a you know, I'm strongly suspecting with the way they phrase the spell trap, there may be a, you know, Flame Sword fusion in our future or something.
Probably. A fusion of Flame Swordsman.
Yeah. If only we could make this my Stealth Red Eyes fusion retrain. And I'm glad that the TCG's handling it because I know the OCG is despite the fact that they made it first, by the way, the OCG is still incredibly scaredy pants about Dark Dragoon. I think Red Eyes Fusion was at, what, 1 for a long time, too?
Surprised that we still don't have a Red Eyes Flame Swordsman.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, technically...
we might be getting that. Like, who knows?
We could. Technically, you can use Flame Swordsman stuff to make Red Eye Slash. Red Eye Slash, though, is definitely supposed to be Gear-freed, because they made a Red-Eyed Gear-freed. It's weird. We'll see how it shakes out.
Have I asked this before, but, like, what would you actually just want Red Eyes to be, like, if they're going to make it a new direction again, how would you like to at least make it somehow cohesive for the other shit?
I would just like to be able to make all my fusion monsters and do something, but I'm not going to get into that right now because I've been trying to end this for, like, 5 minutes. But every time I start all right, we're going to wrap it up, everybody, somebody comes in with something else. I missed that. I know, it's because I kept getting cut off before I even says the ending part.
No,
I haven't said one thing. I blame Despair for this.
I've been playing Dragon's Dogma, but yes, it's very fair.
All right, well, then why are you even asking me questions? Play Dragon's Dogma instead.
Why are you even here?
Okay. We're wrapping up. It's a new month and also a new year, but that means that I will be putting up a new Patreon poll for Fail Betrayal monthly poll, so please check that out on our Patreon. I don't know exactly what monsters are going to be in it yet, but there'll be something. I'll ask these guys later. I am not explicitly not asking them right now, because then they'll start throwing out things that I have to remember, and I'm not gonna, because I'm ending the stream. But please tune into that. We also got back to Final Fantasy VII Remake. We're checking out the DLC yesterday. Check that out. Hopefully, assuming I don't feel too crappy tomorrow, there will also be more Final Fantasy XIV. So keep subscribing and clicking bells and buttons so you can keep watching the stream. I'm doing some kind of weird, like, I keep looping my finger gesture. I don't know what it is. I think that means it's time to stop. So, Good night, everybody.
Yeah, about it.
I don't even know what that last bit was.